No. Greetings, everybody. Greetings and welcome to. You're all thinking, hang on, this can't be Real Talk with Simply Deez because that is the first Tuesday of the month. But no, we are live today. We are live on Facebook. We are live on YouTube also as well. Please, as I always say, get sharing because you are in for an incredible ride, as they say. So welcome. We have top of my screen anyway. Give them a wave, Shell. Shell is the producer.
No.
Shell is producing for today. And anytime I look like I'm pulling a face, that's probably up, or she's telling me some growing. Shell is management. And we welcome to, but she's finding out very slowly.
I think she was
say
talking about
anything,
me
Cecile?
there. Yes.
Yeah.
You were cutting in and out, please.
Yeah, you're
You were
buffering
cutting in and out.
badly.
But I'm presuming you're talking about me. So hello, everybody.
Am I?
New to this group now, as such. Part of the clan. But yes, hello.
Hello and welcome. Okay, so let's start straight away. Time is of an essence because we have some serious guests on the 22 in style. I've been practicing the moves, got on the hoodie. Do you recognise that? Life Outta Lockdown, representing Simply Deez events in the red corner. D Bailey, and we have in the top corner, if I say to you guys, seeing him with old Messenger, and ta-da, welcome Josh the Diamond, good in, make some noise. Oh my gosh. How did I do there with the introduction, Josh? Was it okay?
No, it was brilliant. From what I could hear, it was exceptional. Could have added the most handsome, the most fabulous, but I mean, we could have had some.
Josh, the thing is, Josh, I don't think you know what the show's called. The show's called Real Talk. So
yeah,
the most good-looking, the most handsome, the most.
Oh no. You're killing me here, dude. You're killing me here. My following's going down by the second. You've got to build me up, not knock me down.
Let me tell you something now. I've got a few followers, just a few followers. So what we say to everybody, we want them sharing. We are, as I said, we're live on Facebook. We're also live on YouTube also as well. I know we're going to get some questions, some comments. We've got some other people that are going to join us. But we're just going to have a conversation, Josh. And so really, I know you probably think I do, but I know very little about you, young man.
No, I know. I wouldn't expect you to. I'm no Maradona. No Luther Vandross. I'm just a kid from Luton, now living in Nottingham, and just trying to stay pretty. But according to you, not.
Oh, excellent. Oh, I know. I'm going to love this conversation.
Good.
I'm going to love this conversation. So, okay, I need to peel back because there's people out there that are watching, I know, will be like, I know him. But there's a lot of people, myself included, I don't know anything about you.
Okay.
I know you said you're from Luton. That's it.
Uh-huh.
And then you do a little bit, greetings, Angel. I don't know anything about you. So it's okay with you, Josh. You can see messages are like starting to come through. I need to peel it back. So I know you're born in Luton. So do you want to kind of Luton. Do you want to tell us a little bit more, as in, like, I don't know, you're one of how many?
All right, let's go. Let's go to the root of the fruit. Born in Luton to a West Indian mother. My mother was from St Vincent. She was a West Indian immigrant that came over from St Vincent and the Grenadines in the sort of early 70s.
Okay.
She ended up residing in Luton and had a son named him Josh, and that's me. And we lived in Luton, Lucy Farm. I was raised there and grew up there my whole life. Always was into sport, and I played with someone that you should very much know very well because he's your son. And I played football growing up, so I played with Jordan. Played against him actually, probably more than I played with him, because I went to school in Stopsley at Stopsley High, and he went to Leland's, and so we played against each other on a number of occasions. And sport was always going to be my calling in some way, shape, or form. I was an avid competitor growing up. My whole life through it didn't matter sort of what sport it was, I was competitive, but football in those years, in my teenage years, was very much my calling. And then went to university, and that took me to Nottingham.
Josh, I've got a very bad habit, and you'll discover this, of interrupting.
No, please.
Of interrupting. And the guys out there are going to throw the questions in also as well. So how was school for you? Did you enjoy it?
Actually, to be honest, yeah, I did enjoy it, but probably for the most disruptive of reasons. I mean, I wouldn't say I was the baddest of bad, but I wouldn't say I was the goodest of good. My mum would disagree, and she would have said I was bad, but there was definitely a lot more naughtier people than me, but I definitely wasn't no angel. And I had a lot of energy, is the nice way of what teachers that wanted to say something pleasant at parents' evenings would say. He's got a lot of energy. He just needs to control that energy, is what they would say. And it probably was it's not. How do I say this? It's probably no surprise that I found my energy going towards boxing. I did often find myself fighting in school and outside of school, and even on the football field, which probably Jordan can attest to. And never really had that control over my emotions, which I like to think that I have a lot better now. And then my energy was always directed to sort of fighting or some sort of violence. And yeah, like that pretty much directed me. So to your answer, did I enjoy school? Actually, probably. I probably did. I definitely enjoy it. I definitely look back with fond memories. Some bad memories, of course, but yeah, fond memories all in all, and probably directed me to where I am today. I met a lot of good people and had a lot of good direction. So yeah, all in all, I enjoyed sport. I enjoyed school.
So would you say, bearing in mind, because I'm sure when Jordan does come on, he would say that he had a strict upbringing. That's what he would say to you, and all of them out there. Would you say you had a strict upbringing?
Well, I mean, it's almost impossible if you've got a West Indian mother not to have a strict upbringing. And looking back in retrospect, probably that sort of fueled some of my rebellion at time and some of my anger. At the same time, I also look back and it gave me extreme discipline and huge appreciation for little things. The amount, my mum was a single mother as well, and the amount that she had to work in order to accumulate what I would call her riches, and her riches were putting a food in my stomach, a roof over my head, and clothes on my back. And the amount that she had to work, it fueled me with a desire and to wanting to do well, because of my upbringing, the scarcity of sometimes not having certain things, but also at the same time, my mum always made sure I wanted. I wanted for nothing. Like she always done everything to give me any little thing that she could give, and I look back and realize actually, like, I had a privileged upbringing. Like, I mean, at that time when I was in it,
you thought differently, right?
I thought differently, but it's not until you look back and realize that wow, like I had a lot. And there's a famous rapper, his name's Dave, and he says it in one of his lyrics that I really resonate to. He said, growing up I thought I had it far from perfect, but I realize that nobody does, so I guess I'm just a normal person. And that really resonates with me now, that I, especially when growing up and speaking to other people and realizing other people's stories, and believing that I was a lot worse off and had a
Definitely.
lot of misdirected anger and aggression for what I didn't have. Now I realize what I did have, and I live a good life as a result of it, and the wealth that my mum gave me wouldn't say as much be monetary wealth, but the lessons she taught me, which I didn't know she was teaching me then, really put me in a position where I'm doing okay right now.
Doing okay. Well, that was absolutely beautiful what you just said. When you watch this back, you will understand, because so much of what you just said just now, and this is very much kind of the show, this is for like young, old, there's so many different people that watch the show, and that's why I always tell people if they can share, because what you've just dropped there is at the time when I know certainly as a parent, we are just trying our utmost to give you guys the right foundation in life. The right foundation in life. And sometimes when you're getting those no's and can't afford this and you can't have that, but so-and-so's got this and so-and-so's got that, and all the things that potentially you guys are striving for, and you understand that wealth isn't necessarily wealth monetarily, it's just that love and all the things that you've just said about your mum, which is beautiful.
No, it's true. And a lot of people, what people don't realize is, and I only learned it in what I call my adult years and becoming a man, is that when they say when you get inheritance, like, or talk about wealth, it's often misconstrued as what assets have you obtained, but even if you obtain an asset, that can be lost if you don't know how to nurture and multiply that asset. Whereas I mean, I know I can speak for myself personally, is my mother, with I inherited the wealth of knowledge and acumen in terms of life, and it's just my duty to ensure that I build upon it, and that's how we get what's called generational wealth, and that's more important to me. Being sort of the best that I can be is testament to my mum, and that's what makes her proud, and yeah. Very much on that route at the minute. Whereas when I was younger, as I'd say, it was very much a different route, a different way of thinking.
Okay. Do you mind, because very much with Real Talk, there's a lot of messages that are like coming through. Sport is a great, boxing is a great discipline, and obviously in terms of like what you've been saying and what you've been sharing, it is spot on. Do you mind, because I always say to people, if it's Real Talk, people go, why don't you do a recorded show? Because I said it's live. I want it to be so you know, and I know, and I think most of the people out there who know me know, there's no kind of, I've given you 10 questions, you know what I'm going to ask you, I know what you're going to say. It's all a bit scripted. So if I say to you, if there's anything that you can share, would like to share, as in like, because there's so many young people right now, and we want things, and we don't want things yesterday, we want it now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and how to kind of, you've been through certain, like, I've got no idea what that might be, but I'm just kind of like, how can you, like, from where you are now, looking back, what kind of things, whether that's services, whether that's schools, whether that's clubs, community clubs, social, you know, all that sort of stuff, and youth workers, what can help the young people now? What can we do?
My biggest message would be to teach self-gratitude and self-appreciation. I'm just trying to think of myself back when I was between maybe 13 to 16 or maybe to 18 years old. I didn't always understand.
Years?
Pardon?
Would you say they were the most challenging years for you?
Yeah, most definitely. It will probably make a bit more sense when I unfold the reason why it was more challenging. Is yeah, I mean, I didn't really value myself and what I brought to this world as much as I do now, and I had probably a bit of an identity crisis, which again, in the minute at that time, I probably didn't understand that I had an identity crisis, but only looking back now, I did. And partly the reason is because of my skin complexion. I was brought up by a West Indian mother, and both my grandparents are from St Vincent as well. However, I've got a very pale complexion, so I'd often get asked the question going through school, and back then it was, what caste are you? Not race, what race are you? What caste are you? And it was and so I struggled with that answer. I didn't know I've never known my biological father, so I always identified as I never tried to identify as being black. I was always true to myself, and I didn't want to put myself in any sort of racial disparity. I just casted myself as a child of West Indian descent, I guess then, and but people used to ask me and press me for what caste I was, and I would say half caste, not really understanding what that is then. And then I would find myself next to mixed race friends that were still darker than me, and they would say I was quarter caste. So I would find myself constantly trying to understand where I sort of situated within my sort of social ethnic demographic. So I'd find myself trying to impress my black friends and my mixed race friends a certain way, but then also I fitted into a white demographic and had white friends, but then I would almost sort of fit into that group in a different way, and then I would act slightly in a different way, and I would almost be like the black representative for that group, even though I'm not black in any way. I'm of mixed heritage, and I'm very proud now that I am of mixed heritage, because I understand now that I understand my value in the world, and it is not to identify as any one group, because I'm not of a single culture or ethnicity. I am diverse, and that is what I bring to the world. Is like I bring to the forefront cosmopolitan, being from a cosmopolitan, multi-diverse background, which despite Great Britain having a number of faults, one of the benefits of being living in Great Britain is you can freely be of mixed cultural heritage, and be proud of it. And so growing up, I did very much have an identity crisis, and that probably fueled some of my competitiveness, because I was always I always felt like I had something to prove, and whether it be culturally, but also maybe because I didn't know my father, and I wanted to prove that I had a value, and that because I wanted to impress people, that I would constantly find myself in conflict or competitive environments, to prove my self-worth. But now looking back, and there were some positives that come out of every environment that you have. but I wish I would have learned to sort of appreciate my value and not try and change myself to fit into any cohort. Just realize that I have value and I have worth, and my value is me. And yeah, and that is the biggest message that I could say, or I mean, and no one else can teach that. Only oneself can teach that, and trying to sort of educate yourself and be comfortable with yourself as early as possible. And in those teenage years, they're the most devilish years in terms of bullying, in terms of very much verbal conflicts that you could have. They're the most egregious of years. So it's quite a difficult period for any teenager. But I would say, and I would advocate that maybe reading the book The Alchemist, if anyone's into reading, and that teaches you to follow your light, follow your goal, and yeah, just be very much comfortable and show gratitude to yourself and who you are as a person is what I would teach as a bottom line message.
We need you teaching. We need you teaching. Oh my gosh. I've literally over the past, what's today, Tuesday, over the last, not even 4 days, had this conversation with someone. And very much what you've just said then. Not black, so experience racism from black people. You're not white and experience racism from white people. Would you say that's very much of kind of what you're saying also as well? Oh, good blimey, look at
Yes, Jordan, how you doing, brother? Long time. Yeah, good to see you. I just got to answer your mum's question first. For me, it's very egregious for me to say that I suffered any form of racism when there's so much overt racism out there. I couldn't say that, and I wouldn't feel comfortable saying that I received racism. What you would find is there's always some sort of subconscious or some subliminal bias that sometimes people can't. How do I say this? They can't help, and so I would sometimes find myself disparaged subconsciously, but I would feel that, and I would feel it was because of X, Y, and Z, maybe racially, maybe because of a different factor. Maybe I was too confrontational, maybe I was too competitive, and I don't think from my scenario there was any univariant answer. It was very sort of multivariant, and like the race maybe I've had a small part of that, and maybe I marginalized myself because I felt that as well, because that can happen. I take responsibility, and this is why I would definitely say to any young man of my complexion, because I can only speak from my complexion and my instances. I can't speak for another race. I can't speak for another ethnicity. Like what I went through and what I feel like I would have benefited from is just some self-appreciation, some self-confidence in any situation. And just to not marginalize myself, because I felt the moment that somebody didn't accept me, I would then sort of fall back a bit too much, and then I would blame it on them. So you need to take accountability for yourself, your actions, the way you're feeling, and show that sort of inner strength and gratitude in yourself, because like I said, it doesn't matter what race you are, you're always going to get some sort of subconscious bias, and some are way egregious than some are, you can't even say egregious, some are overt racism, and I can never say that I've had overt racism, but you will always get some sort of subconscious bias from, I just felt it from two different sides because I sat somewhere in the middle.
We need you teaching. I'm going to say it again. We need you teaching, Josh.
Everyone's capable of this.
Honestly, you were dropping what we call nuggets, my love. You were dropping absolute nuggets. I'm actually going to read one of the a couple of the comments that here. So brought up using the word half caste. Absolutely hate it now. And this is Cecile Terrelong. Always feels disrespectful. I am mixed race or biracial. Well done, Josh. The value is you. So that was a lady that was on earlier on. And then we've got Jackie Jane Bergwin Turner, who said, I hear you. I have dual parentage children. And if you can see what happens when I turn up to represent them as the mother, if we reach our children emotional intelligence, they are able to manage their emotions in negative situations better. Self-awareness is important to our children. They need to love themselves and love who they are. Remember, we do not eat rotten food, so do not swallow these negative, rotten words.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So
No, brilliant.
Digress slightly, only slightly.
Okay.
It's all important stuff that we've just taught. So what did you leave school with?
This is actually a really good question. It's not something I've really ever talked about, because I went on to have somewhat of a fairly successful academic career after in school. I mean, you would argue now that I'm fairly illiterate. I mean, don't get me wrong, I can read, I can write, but my girlfriend jokes about it all the time that I often, anytime I write a Christmas card or birthday card, you're guaranteed to get a spelling mistake in there. But in school, I have to say this because, and the reason why I feel to say this right now is just in case if there's any parents out there or any teenagers that are coming up to their GCSEs this year that are listening. For my mock examinations that happen around this type of year for your GCSEs, I came out with 1 A to C. All the rest were A, B, C, D, E, F's and below. So I didn't come out of one. I only came out with 1, and that was in PE, which you would expect, physical exercise or physical activity. I went on to leave school with 5, which isn't great, and I'll never say it's great. But when I had my report, and I remember having this report being given to me that I failed every other exam apart from in physical activity. I remember being in the head teacher's office with my mother, and she broke down in tears. And that was the moment that I remember it very, very clearly. That was the moment I decided to make a change and change my. Yeah, I remember as clear as day. I can remember the head teacher. I can remember the moment. I can remember my mum crying, and that was the moment I decided to change my behaviours and concentrate on school. And even the week before I was due to have my sit our GCSEs, I almost got expelled that week for getting into a fight in a classroom. But aside from that, my behaviours and my application and attitude was exemplary. And Eric Thomas, he's a famous sort of philosopher or motivator, very much in the sort of 20th century. He said, "The ability to be great is the ability to change who you are to who you can be at any moment." From who you are to who you can be at any moment. Wow. And that was the moment where I changed from who I was to who I could be at any moment. And I remember I stayed after school every day at an extracurricular lesson, and I caught up on time. That's what taught me how to become good at anything. That moment there was, if I spend enough time at anything with a motive to get good at anything, you can do it. Because I mean, in that short space of time, I went from one GCSE to 5, but the rest I got up significantly, but I was categorically failing, to being able to have entry levels into college, and then that's what took me on from there. And again, there's a lot more academic people there are out there, but for me, that was my first taste of who, like, changing from who you are to who you can be at any moment. And then I went on to university, and then got a master's, and then started off studying for a PhD.
I need to stop you.
God.
Don't get me wrong, I need to stop you. Firstly, Jackie, who's watching, and I read her, is because my glasses are dirty. So don't apologise because she's saying she's dyslexic. Don't you be worrying about that, sis. Appreciate all your comments, seriously. Cecile's put that you should be teaching. I've already said that. Now, I want to know, so you're at school and all the trouble and this, that and the other going on. I remember always saying, like, because this is what I was told, and we did tend to, back then, pass on what we were told and pass it on to the kids. It's like the company you keep. What do you think about, as in, like, who you surround yourself with? Are you likely to, because we used to say, like, you keep bad company, what else do we expect?
Well, I mean, it's true. Like, there's two sayings. There's birds of a feather flock together. If you run around with losers, you're going to be a loser. And if you run around with winners, you're going to be a winners. And here's the most profound. Billionaires only hang around with billionaires, right? Like, athletes tend to hang around with only athletes. Like, you are a product of your environment, and that's only natural. And I say that now is in a sense that I know, for me to become a better boxer, I have to surround myself by better boxers, and it's not just as simple as that. I don't think there's just one uniform answer. I think that helps, and then you have to have the desire to want to become better and take that self-responsibility, as I always revert back to. But your environment definitely helps, but I don't think it's limited just to your environment, because, okay, let's say, for example, Muhammad Ali, whose 80th birthday, I believe it was yesterday, he came out of a poverty-stricken, racially biased and area that he had limited access to any resource, and he became the greatest boxer of all time. So his environment was extremely egregious, and he had no essentially role models to bounce off of, and he had a group of nobody really, but he still became popular. So I do think your environment is extremely important, but I don't think it's a limiting factor.
You're kind of like, I feel like you're just, time I ask you a question, you just kind of just knock me out, Josh. You just send in my head back, and I'm going like, geez. So I then have to peel myself off of the rings, and then I'm like, right, okay, next question for Josh. I'm going to go like, oh my God. These guys are absolutely loving it. There's so many comments that are coming through. You've learned to use your resilience and turned your weakness into your strength. Well done. Big up to you. Is one of the comments.
Thank you.
That we said, which is obviously what you've just shared. You've just shared with us. So you've finished school, you've gone to college, what's driving you to do all of this? Because I mean, I'm thinking, like, once you've left school, it's like, hey, that's it, great, I'm out of school, let me get a job. What drove you? What, to then kind of, and what were you doing at uni?
Have you ever say gone on an extreme diet, right?
I should do, but I haven't.
Well, or have you restricted, or have you ever done Lent or restricted yourself from ever eating chocolate?
Yes, I have, actually. Yes.
Okay. What happens that the moment chocolate touches your tongue again?
For me, it didn't taste nice.
Oh God, that's chucked out my analogy.
I was thinking, I can't wait. And I thought, ugh.
Well, for me, when I'm dieting for a fight, and the moment I taste chocolate again and put one chocolate in my mouth, I just want more, because it's that feeling of something nice happening or tasting nice. Or if we use another example, the moment you achieved your first degree, or you achieved your your first sale at a job, or you've got your first job, that feeling of success, like it becomes addictive. So again, I go back to when I was in school. The moment I got my 5 A's to C GCSEs, I remember, rest in peace, my English teacher, I think his name was Mr. Feather, like, because I never thought I would get a C in English ever. And when I got my grades back and I achieved that bit of success, that's then drove me on again. And so for me, it was just the constant earning for want to do better and want to be better after tasting that first glimpses. It was predominantly my driving factor, and wanting, like, my mum motivated me a whole deal, because she was really inspirational to me, and she still is, because of how much and how, like, I joke about with her now, and people that know my mum, and because she looks like a small tiny thing and look very now, and she's very much softened in her age, but when I was growing up and in my teenage years and early 20s, she was ruthless in terms of her work ethic. And so my mum came over from St Vincent without a single degree, without any near enough any education. Like, she just used to help my grandfather raise cattle and goat on the island, to then come over to England to work in a Burberry factory and then a Gillette factory, to then 30-40 years later, like, essentially but manage her own fleet of car parks and managing a rental company. That was rags to riches for her, and definitely rags to riches for me to watch. And so when you see the success stories of say Muhammad Ali coming from nothing to world champion, well, my mum was that version of a world champion to me. So that it made me accountable for who I am, because if my mum can do all of that, then I have a mandate to push on and want to do better and have to do better, because if she can do all that, then it's my responsibility to then push on. So that became a motivating factor for me as well.
Let me just peel myself off. Wow. We're going to go to some of the questions that are in the chat, or comments in the chat, in a moment. Why boxing? Why not? If you were doing all the different sports, why boxing?
I mean, again, back to when I was growing up, I found myself very competitively active, and never being able to challenge my anger. And anyone that knows me, or anyone that's like came across me, especially in that period of my life, would say he's a relentless competitor. It didn't matter what sport, you would see me there. And like, so you would see me at all of the national running competitions, all of the district basketball competitions, all of the district rugby competitions. I love to compete, and it was always ingrained in me, and I was never the most naturally talented at any of those sports. Never there was an abundance of kids always more naturally talented than me, but I found it within sport, my ability to work and my ability, and I found what was one of my natural talents, and what my natural talent was not being good at the sport, was being good at having a maniacal work ethic, because with that maniacal work ethic, I became good at the sport as opposed to my natural talent. And the cliche is hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. I became good at those sports. So with football, because of my low self-esteem, when I received the biggest setback, which was an injury.
Sorry.
Go on.
I don't recall, I could be wrong, you just saying like low self-esteem. I don't recall you saying that. Have you said that already today? When I meant
like low self-worth. So okay. Self-worth. So I intertwine those words. So when I say that, and again, like when I don't want to overemphasize that I walked around in a depressive state. And self-esteem can be situational. It doesn't have to be an indigenous trait of somebody. Somebody hasn't all its situation with self is situational. And I found I was always disappointed when I lost. And I was very much a sore loser. But where I struggled,
oh gosh, it sounds so much like Jordan. I tell you what. Oh, you just know when you're going to have an awful Sunday or an awful Saturday. Jeez, were you like that?
Yeah, I very much was, and I mean, I very much was, because for me, and again, it's only looking back, is winning had more of importance to me than winning. Winning had importance to prove people that I was a winner, and me having my place within my social demographic culture. That was me. That's what. And when I lost, that's when it had a big impact on me. And so when I got injured and I didn't have, and again, this is what I'm tracking back to when we're talking about self-resilience and self-worth, when I didn't have that, I found a way out. And I didn't continue with football. Whereas we look at success stories of, like, for example, Jamie Vardy, who plays for Leicester, and he's won like copious amount of trophies now and individual accolades. He stuck with football because he loved it and he believed in himself, and he eventually got to the top. Ian Wright's another example. He came into football late. I just didn't have that at the time, and didn't have that understanding, and didn't ever conceptualize who I was then. So then I went away, did my academics, as I said, and I stumbled across a boxing gym. And my competitive juices, with the resilience that I learned, led me into this sport, and realised that even though I came into the sport late, I have a huge opportunity, and I owe it to myself to see this all the way. And sometimes I still get like sidetracked with seeing what other people are doing and seeing how some of my rivals are progressing, and sometimes it becomes very difficult to deal with. But all of these experiences that I had behind me has now led me to become where I am and in the position I am, and turned professional and doing fairly well, albeit I believe I should be doing better, but that's all part of my story, and that's how I got into boxing. Fate.
So we're making a presumption, Joss. We are, because the guys out there, as I said, some know you, but a lot of them don't. Exactly that. So what age did you start boxing? And you sort of said you've taken it up now. So what age did you start boxing? I
would say the first time I stepped into a boxing ring was 19 years old. However, the first time I seriously started boxing, and when I say serious, actually like having a fight or training properly, was 23 years old. That's when I had my first amateur fight at 23 years old. I turned professional 2.5 years later.
Is that old in the boxing world? I don't know.
Pardon?
Is that old?
So typically, we've got a lad in my gym who's 18 years old, and he's turning professional at 18. So turning 23 is, yeah. Well, sorry, I turned professional at 25, close to 26. So yeah, probably considered on the older sides. And I had very much what's called a short amateur background. So I only had 12 fights as an amateur. I was fortunate enough to win 10 of those and achieve some fairly prestigious amateur accolades. But the reason even though I came at a later age, that's not really the narrative. It's the speed of the progression, and I say that most humbly. And the reason why I'm saying that's not to impress anybody. It's more to impress upon you the ability, again, to change from who you are to who you can be. And then I knew that if I was to become any good at this, if someone was training for 4 hours a day, I had to train 5 or 6 hours a day, because he was probably boxing from 15, 16 years old. I knew I had to consistently train for 4, 5, 6 hours or X amount of hours more in order to catch up with those people, and that comes from a certain discipline, a certain planning, and that's led me to this stage now, where very much at the start of my professional career, and obviously lockdowns had a massive impact on that. I've only had one fight in 2 years, which you would expect me, if lockdown wouldn't have happened and COVID wouldn't have happened, hypothetically, I probably would have had maybe 8 to 10 fights by now. So that's halted, but it again, like, having gratitude of where you are in life. There's people that's suffering from COVID and suffering from illness. So for me to have even had one fight, or for me to be standing up and healthy, I'm grateful for. But professionally, I can't wait to kick on now and bring some titles back to Luton.
Yay! Josh, lockdown. How did that? Because you said obviously, no fights, all the rest of it. I don't know. Did you still get to train? And I'm just thinking, as in, like, what did that do for your mental health? I'm just asking.
Yeah, again, like, I don't want to dramatize anything for the sake of dramatizing it. I was okay. I mean, I was one of the very, very fortunate people that, after about 3-4 months, or maybe even 2-3 months of the strict lockdown, because the status of being a sports person and having an exemption, I was allowed to train at the gym. So my life is predominantly going to the gym, coming back home, spending time at home, going back to the gym. So I really cannot say in that sense I was deeply affected, and I don't want to dramatize that, because there's people out there that was significantly affected and couldn't go and exercise. So I was extremely fortunate in a sense that I could, because I mean, we know that the type of endorphin rush you can get from even going and walking down the road, and how refreshing that could be for one's health. So I was fortunate enough to do that, whereas there's people that were struggling to do that, or apprehensive to do that, even if they could. My mum came back from St Vincent for a 3-month period and got caught over here, and she was staying with me, and she wouldn't leave the house because she was a little bit nervous. I had to tell her, stop watching the news, because the news will scare you. And she didn't leave the house, and so she couldn't wait to get back on a plane to St Vincent. Other than the fact that it's extremely sunny out there, and she's living a life of a queen out there. But yeah, here I can't say, and I can't say that it impacted me in a such where it had any significance on my mental well-being. I can't say that, and I wouldn't want to say that in any way anyway. Double.
That's absolutely fine, Josh. There's so many. Oh my gosh, there's so many comments. Doing the town proud. Ian Powell, howdy. I know him very well. Oh my gosh. So you're living in Nottingham.
Mm-hmm.
Why Nottingham? Is there somebody there? I'm just asking for a friend.
No. Well, there is somebody there, but I didn't. She's not the reason why I'm here. She's actually from Luton as well, funny enough. But no, the reason Nottingham, if the reason why I moved up here, is when I came to originally study here, I started doing. I went on to start doing some research up here and started my PhD, and that's when I found the boxing gym, and I got to a position where I had to choose either carry on with my academics and my PhD, or choose boxing, and I chose boxing. And my coach is up here, and he's someone that I entrust. And boxing's one of those sports, like, your coach becomes more than just a coach, isn't it? Like, even in football, I had the same. I had really good relationships with some of my coaches, but the bond is even more profound with a boxing coach, because at times, and I received, I experienced this in my first fight, where I won the fight, but received a heavy knockdown and was put on my bum, or we'll see, we'll keep it PG. I was put on my bum, and I suffered from concussion and post-concussion syndrome. I woke up in a hospital 3 days later, knowing I won the fight, but not remembering anything other than that. And then I suffered from what's called post-concussion syndrome. So I would like be dizzy just walking around on a day-to-day basis, have random headaches, like vision blurred, slur in my speech, and realized how serious a sport it was, and one where you have to take it extremely seriously. And having that trust in a coach is very, very imperative. So he's probably the reason why I stayed up in Nottingham so long, well, him and the gym. And then I ended up sort of living up here and making base up here, and in a way it's been difficult going back to Luton for a sense that a lot of people have forgotten about me. So being on talk shows like this, and
a lot of people have forgotten about you.
Yeah, a lot of people.
A
lot of people have forgotten because my name should be on the tip of their tongues, not in the back of their head.
How do you know it's not?
Good question. Actually, you've trumped me there. You've trumped me.
I've got him against the ropes.
I'm never normally short of words. Maybe it's just my ego believing that I should be on the front of every newspaper. That's probably what it is. But no, I have to say that I've got a really strong support and supportive network. I mean, even as an amateur, I would have friends and family that traveled up to Newcastle, Leicester, all the way to come and watch me, and that sort of transpired into my life as a professional. It doesn't matter where I am, people will travel to see me, and a large part of that base is my Vincentian family and friends, and a large part of that also is friends and family that I've made in Luton, and so no, I'm extremely grateful. So I say it with a bit of tongue in cheek, and a heavy bit of ego, but yeah, no, I've got extremely...
No, but do you know what? You can see it in the corner there. That is what the show is called, Josh. It's called Real Talk, and I don't know what your time frame is, but it's kind of it's like 8 o'clock. You can talk.
Yeah, I know. I talk too much.
No, now let's not get this wrong. What are my chances? When's your next fight?
That's a bit of a sensitive question, actually, because I was due to have two fights at the back end of last year. One, it got right to the wire and the opponent didn't turn up, so I missed out on a fight. Not only a fight in career progression, but also a payday then.
So what happens then if it's literally? I mean, I don't know. Do they have to sort of pay for?
No, it's
thing and a touchy subject.
No, it's not a touchy subject. I mean, it's a touchy subject that the opponent didn't turn up, but if I see him, I'm gonna whoop him. But no, it's just more. Yeah, during that period, it's a very difficult time for a boxer, because on the level that I'm at, and you make a lot of, you make your money by ticket selling and putting yourself out there to the public. So if you're not fighting, a lot of that audience is coming to support you. Well, they don't actually want to go to the show anymore because they want to see you in action. Yeah. So correct. So you lose out on that purse. But also during that period is for me as a professional, you have to weigh in at a specific weight. And that means you have to do what's called cut weight, which is extremely stressful period on the body and emotionally. So then at the end of it, to put yourself through that pain, and then the opponent doesn't turn up, and then you don't get paid as well. Yeah, it was a bit of a stressful period, but no one's going to complain. This is the life I signed up to, so I'm definitely not going to complain about it. But that's just a little bit of information for people that don't know how it works.
Exactly.
Just so they understand how it works. But again, I am very grateful for where I am, so that is not a complaint. But then at the same time, I've been suffering from an injury, and that meant I missed out on fighting in December, and that injury still hasn't subsided. I'm not going to disclose exactly what that injury is, but I'm hoping to fight in March April time, by the end of March, April time, but it all depends on how that injury heals up. So it's not the ideal situation coming out of lockdown, not having fought much to then have an injury. But again, like these are all the challenges that God presents to you that you have to overcome and you have to be resilient with, because I'll always revert back to it. There's people out there that are having to overcome a lot more challenges than what I'm having to overcome.
Josh,
but keep
what are my
March
chances?
free.
I was just going to say, what are my chances of getting you back on the show in March?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Okay. All of you out there watching,
Jordan's a brother. Like Jordan's a brother of mine, so you're another mother of mine.
Ah! Heard it. My family are from Montserrat. Josh, just letting you know, don't you start with a small island joke.
Where you from, Montserrat?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a tiny little island there.
Okay. I warned him, guys. You heard me warn him. Don't you talk about my
beautiful island.
And he said it. He said it. Oh my gosh.
Like my family come from a little spot in Ireland. Actually, a lot of my family come from a little island, one of the Grenadine Islands called Bequia, and specifically from Sugar Hill. So I can't really talk about small island because that's a real small island, but the most beautiful island on the planet.
What's the population? What are you talking population-wise? What are you talking?
Well, St. Vincent and the Grenadines as a whole are about 100,000 people. Bequia specifically on that island, there's no more than 3,000 people.
Yeah. Montserrat's probably got about 4.5. Yeah.
Well, that's like, if we're talking Luton sense, that's the size of Lucy Farm. Well, that's the population of Lucy Farm. That's probably the size of one estate in Lucy Farm.
Do you know what? These are the kind of comments small island people. I told you, Josh. I told you what these people are like.
Hey, but that's fine because it's small island people, but big heart.
Tell them. Do you know what I'm going to do? I know it's hard to believe. It's like kind of after 8, and I know some people have got to do various things. Mm-hmm. I want you back. If possible. The show will be the first Tuesday in March. The producer will let me know any minute now what date that is. And I'd love to get you back on, and we can help. All being well with you is promo the fight and whatever else. And there's got to be a part 2 because you've scratched the surface of what's going on with you. There's so much more, I can tell.
Yeah, that's absolutely no problem. It's been an absolute pleasure, and no, thank you for providing the platform.
No problem at all. This is something that I've been doing for, oh my gosh, it'll be 4 years in May. It's the first Tuesday of every month. And it's very much about, it's not a topic. It's just having a chat, a conversation, letting people know out there, just real stuff that's going on, real talk, real people and real lives. And you have, honestly, you have given us that tonight. Let me see. I'm sure Jordan's, Shell, can you drop Jordan in for a moment so we can say hi and bye?
Yes, Jordan.
What's going on?
How we doing, my brother?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
All healthy. Family healthy.
Yeah, everyone's good, man. Everyone's good.
About when we used to play football together. You at Leland's, me at Stopsley.
Yeah.
Even before then, actually, and then basketball as well.
Basketball.
Yeah, that's it.
From primary school.
Say that again.
From primary school, innit?
Early.
Primary school.
Competitors from early. But yeah, anytime, like I said.
I will do, because he said to me, he goes, you need to get John on the show.
Another mother.
Yeah. And you didn't mention it, Mum, but obviously my other half, my dad's from St. Vincent, so I've got St. Vincent and Montserrat in me. Yeah, man. Nah, I appreciate it. Josh has come a long way. Do you know what I mean? And it's good to hear, do you know what I mean, the mindset, everything. Do you know what I mean? I know his journey from the beginning. Do Do you know what I mean? He's a good guy, man, really good guy. And he's done nothing but success. He's worked hard. Always kept his head down, never followed, never strayed, just stayed on his journey. And do you know what I mean? He's reaping the benefits now. So, no, it's good to hear, man. It's good to hear. So.
It actually is. Josh, you are seriously, and somebody else has mentioned it in the chat, very much the kind of person that I would want to be taken into schools, to be going to schools, this sharing with the young people your personal journey.
Yeah, definitely.
We've got to tell Luton Borough Council to up those pounds and put them in my pocket, and I'll go around to all the schools.
Yeah.
It's not what you know, it's who you know. It's who you know. So let's see, Josh. Let's see. Honestly,
I would be more than welcome to do that anytime. But anyway, you guys have a good night, and thank you again. It's a blessing every time.
Thanks a lot, darling.
All right, see you later.
Take care. All right, Jordan, you look like you're having your dinner. Are you having your dinner, love?
No.
Oh.
I've got food in my face.
Not at all. So for those that are jumping on and thinking, oh my gosh, wasn't that an absolutely awesome chat with Josh the Diamond Gooding? So yeah, 1st of March is the next show. Not next show, but in March, when hopefully if Josh is fighting, we'll get him back on. Can we kind of bring on Jordan? We're going to kick you out for now because I think we're kind of at a bit of capacity. Yeah, thank you. And let's bring on, because now, guess what? We are talking. what we actually, Jordan, do you want to introduce who's going to be coming on next and what we might potentially be talking about? Look, I even put a bow around it, guys. That's how crazy I am.
Wow.
What are we going to be talking about, Jordan?
We're going to be talking about Life Out of Lockdown, book number 2. By the brilliant squad, Life in the Lockdown squad. They've done it again. They thought it was a fluke, but they've done it again. And yeah, it's a big day. It's a big day.
Oh, bless you, darling. Thank you so much. We'll speak to you soon, Jordan. So we are welcoming. Everybody's thinking like, what the hell? 1 minute there was just one person, and now there's loads more. What is going on? Greetings, guys. I know, kind of like I'm running slightly late, but you got to admit that guy was awesome, wasn't he? Wasn't Josh awesome?
Yep, absolutely.
So welcome everybody that's on welcome, and we shouldn't have to tell those people out there, Leah. We shouldn't have to tell them. But do you know what, Leah? They don't know. I know they don't know. They've got no idea what is actually happening. So do you want to just tell them what is happening? Do you want to tell them who you are?
Okay. Well, for me, I'm a teacher, so that whole teacher thing, that'll work. As long as everybody can hear me okay with their lovely thumbs up and all of that.
If I can ask everybody who's not talking to go on mute, please.
Okay, so I gotta say, I'm very excited because obviously I wasn't able to link myself into the first book. I did not meet there, but I do have my own copy of that, which I will be getting everybody to sign at some point. The Life in a Lockdown. And it is a collection of stories and poems and true tales and true talk and real talk from the lovely ladies and gentlemen of Life in a Lockdown. Now, I was fortunate enough to meet these lovely, wonderful people in time to get my own piece into the second book, which Dee so helpfully pointed out, The Life Outta Lockdown, where we were all released into the wild to create, whatever chaos and creation and art and love and lesson that we could possibly come up with. And the coolest part is that it will be in your own hands very, very soon, if it isn't already. So the whole Kindle book, the paperback book, 23 different people sharing their experience with you so that you can see that your experience wasn't an only one. We share ourselves with you so you know that you and us have something in common.
Oh, that's fab, Leah. That's absolutely fabulous. So, yes, you're right. I'm literally having messages with the publishing house every kind of like 15, 20 minutes. So I need somebody to just keep your eye. Who knows? It should be happening really soon. Certainly in the next couple of days. So we've got the show, and that's why I needed you out there to meet some of the co-authors and find out how it was for them. We're not giving away too much because we want you to read it. We want you to buy it. Leah, I know you've got to go soon. Just tell the guys.
I'm good. I'm actually I'm yours for the night. I'm yours for the night now.
Yay!
I canceled. They're far more important. They're far less important than you.
Yeah, that's right, darling. That's right. Tell them out there, the masses out there, because you're a published author in your own right, as they say, and then obviously doing a collab. I'm sure Hanifa was sharing a little bit earlier on. It is different. It is different. But how was and what can we expect from your chapter without giving away too much?
Okay. Well, I am an English teacher. I teach secondary school English. So I practice what I preach. I write short fiction. I write stories. I write working on a novel, which isn't done. My own publication is poetry. And so my most comfortable space is in expressing myself as a poet and a descriptive writer, sensory poetry, that kind of thing. But my chapter in the book expresses almost a kind of an anti-theme of the work, because the first book, I understand, was about experiences being inside and being in lockdown, and the second book, when we got released, contains stories about how we made those steps, how we opened the door, looked out, joined each other in the real world, and opened our doors to see what was coming next. Oddly enough, and I'm not going to, obviously give too much away about it, but my chapter is titled in the very clear way I felt about it. I don't want to write about lockdown. So it is a poem and a short kind of prose reflection, full sentence reflection on the experience of not wanting to obsess over the experience. So I wrote a poem about it because I wanted to write a poem about not wanting to write a poem about lockdown.
Oh my gosh, I absolutely love that. I absolutely love that. And one of the things we were talking about earlier on is there's 23 authors. Okay, there's 3 guys and 20 females. And I don't know. You're thinking like, I'm lead author. I have not read any of the chapters. Even though I've had the proof and it's gone back, I've not read. I literally, when I get the official, is like, that's when I feel I can actually start and actually read and actually read the book. So Leah, we might come, if we get time, come back to you. So thank you so much. Oh my gosh, this is so exciting. So exciting. Do you see that person giggling? I know they're all giggling. You guys are going, which one? They're all giggling. But I'm talking about Pamela E. Thompson. That is a real giggler.
Hi, everyone.
Greetings, Sister Pamela. Greetings.
Hi. Greetings, sis.
So it's so good to have so many of you on tonight. You want to share with us, Pam, maybe a little bit about book number 1, how you got involved, and certainly what we're saying for book 2.
So book number one for me was really about stepping out of my comfort zone. It came about after our weekly Zooms, and V said, let's, put it to D, let's document this. And when that email came out and the message came out, and I thought, oh, can I do this or can't I do this? And I thought, you know what, give it a whirl. And yeah, it was the best feeling ever, because if anybody saw me when I got book one, yeah, my feet were going in all different directions. Yeah, it was just an absolutely amazing feeling that I never actually thought I'd achieve it. But it was one of the best feelings ever. So when it came to book two, I sort of struggled with the content. What was I going to write? I don't know what I'm going to do. And about a week before the deadline, I sort of had different visions throughout the week. And those different visions sort of formulated my piece for Life Outta Lockdown. And it's quite a mix. But my title is Lockdown 2, Time for Cultivation. And if anybody read book one, it was Lockdown, Unlocked Emotions. So it's a bit of a, not going to talk too much about it, because you know what I'm like. If you want it, buy the book. But yeah, it was interesting. I read it back, and I thought, did that really come out of me? Have I really done it again? And yeah, I did. And not only am I in it, but yeah, my niece is joining me. So yeah, it's a right family affair. She asked if, when book one came out, if she could be in book two. And yeah, here's her dream. She's about to be a published author. So yeah, it's a family affair, and loving every moment of it.
Oh my gosh, well done, Pam, well done. And sending our love, as always, to Honey May. She's done a video. I'll out myself. She called me her bonkers auntie, and if anybody's seen my reels today, you'll realise why. But do you know what? Hey ho, I quite like my title. Excellent, thank you. Right, so the people that are watching are thinking like, oh my god, I need to get the book, because it sounds super exciting, because it is. This is available as of tomorrow, if not tonight. And this is available now. And you want it signed, right? You don't want just any old copy. You want it signed. You know how to, what would Justice say? Hit me up. I know. You know how to get hold of us. You can get one of these. I'm just trying to be hip and trying to be young. That's all that's happening there. Nifa.
Did you just call me young? Trying to promote the book. You've been nice to me, calling me young.
Yeah.
Buy the book now, guys, please. I get more Botox.
Oh my gosh, you're crazy. Can you hear me? Somebody's frozen.
Yeah, I've just taken myself. Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Right. Hanifa, I know we had you on earlier. Yeah. Please, but obviously there's people, we've got new people on now. Please share with us, another published author previously, your journey, because you're obviously, well, not obviously, but you're in book number one, and you're also in book number two.
Yeah. So very quickly, hi everyone. Yeah. So very quickly, you know what? I kind of fell into book one. I remember that Dee mentioned on one of the Zooms, one of the Dee Zooms. Dee mentioned the book, and I think I mentioned writing a book, and I think I remember saying to myself, "Yeah, that sounds interesting. Yeah, yeah, maybe, yeah. Let's see if it actually happened." La 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 la. And before I knew it, I had kind of like signed myself up to actually contributing to the book. And then, of course, you have to write something, because if you're going to be in a book, you've got to write something. And so then I had to think of something to write. And then I found myself collaborating with 20 other women. And, you know, the published author or not, for me, the new experience for me was being part of a collaboration. And that's something that I hadn't done before. So, you know, no matter what I may have done before, I'm just like every other woman who was involved in book one. I was part of a collaborative process. And that is challenging because, you know, we got to agree on so many things. We got to discuss and agree on so many, the color, the font, the title, so many things. So it was like a roller coaster, an exciting roller coaster. It was absolutely awesome. I mean, really, really awesome. When I think back on it now, it was really, really awesome. Book two, of course, by the time you get to book two, it sounded like, oh, well, I'm kind of like seasoned at this now, so I can do it. Yeah. No. Another new experience, Anifa. Another new experience. Collaboration, yes. But now we're talking about a different subject. We were talking about life in a lockdown. Now we were talking about life out of lockdown. And so, of course, it's about thinking about, okay, so how does this really, feeling into the process, how does this really feel now? Because we're kind of like not really out of lockdown, but we are coming out of the most acute phase of it. And so it's like being able to articulate that and put that into words, feel into it first, and then put that into words. And so again, it's been a roller coaster process, a good process, another good collaborative process. And I like writing with these women, and there are men now as well. So that's yet another dimension to this whole drama, you know. So it's not just women, it's men as well who are involved in this process. And I kind of had I got to say this, I kind of had like issues about that on a personal level. I thought, what are men doing in this? I'm not a man hater, by the way. No. Just want to say that. But, you know, before I get some angry responses. But I'm not, just that I was thinking, I thought it was just going to be us women. But no, why should it be just us women? So it's nice to have yet another part, another dimension to the collaborative process. So I just think that we've done amazingly well. I cannot wait to get hold of the book. I was with Dee the other day, and boy, in my head, I wanted to say to her, so show me the book, man. Show me the book. Let me at least see the book. Let me touch the book. Let me smell the book, like he was chatting about today earlier on. Then I thought, you know, when I was in her house, you know, I was saying, no, don't be disrespectful. Keep your mouth shut. Do what you got to do and get out. So, and the what I realize now is that the excitement's going to be even greater when I actually do get my copies of the book. So, you know, that's enough of me now.
You should have jacked you. You let us down. You should have jacked her and brought it to me.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, Jay? You know what I'm saying? But, you know, boy. Now what we want to do as a collective, we want you all to go out there. Everyone who's listening, tell your friends and you yourself, go out there, buy the book. I see Shelley's on, and we had phenomenal sales of book one. We want phenomenal, doubled and trebled this time round. And because it's all about fundraising and it's all about supporting the cause of, you know, developing what we're doing now. And I'm sure that someone's going to be saying the other areas that this whole book writing venture is going into, you know, the puzzle and the cup. I see Justa's got her in it cup there, the cup and the t-shirts and the you know, that's right. And all of the other areas that we're going, you know, all the other products that, you know, like a spin-offs from this book. So we just want you to go out there and buy it as soon as it's available. I was on Amazon earlier and I couldn't find it and I was getting a bit frustrated. So it certainly wasn't on a few hours ago, but it's all right. I can be patient. I'll just hold fire and hold my excitement, and I'll just look forward to it. So we just want you, as soon as you can, go out there, buy it, read it, and I know there's no question that you will enjoy and that you'll be inspired by it. Now, to me, there's no question of that at all. So, you know, we listen, and we look forward to your feedback too. So thanks very much for listening to us, and thanks very much for being with us, being a part of our journey. We aren't going anywhere. We're around to stay. So let's see what happens with life out of lockdown. Okay, see what happens.
Are you now saying there's a book 3?
Take care, everyone. Shelley saying, nah.
I heard that was like book 4. It was hour. That was like
hour. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Okay, great. Thanks.
So I think she's
Who is it over to now? Where's Dee gone?
She's coming back
Oh, she's
in.
coming back now. Okay, Dee.
Yeah, sorry, updates.
I'm going to mute myself.
I managed to ignore and
mute myself, yeah.
managed to ignore, and then it's forced the update. So yeah, thank you so much, Nifa. Just a misdemeanor.
Yo. Newbie to book no.
Greetings, thank you for coming this evening, my love. And
is Dee cutting
do you
out?
want to share?
You're cutting out, Dee, sorry. Yeah, sorry, apologies everyone.
Talk.
I mean, you never normally tell me that. Right, sorry. Basically, apologies for stating what I look like. Unfortunately, I was born with this face. Now, jokes. It's been an emotional time for me. Some of you know, and if you don't know, yeah, it's been a bit of a rubbish time. So as well, being in this book, it's also a blessing that it's made it better. It's making things, reminding me of blessings and whatnot. And being with these ladies as well, I mean, they know it, but I like to remind them that my life wouldn't be the same without them. And now I'm in the book with them. So now we're stuck in history forever. So, yeah. I don't really know what else you want me to say, because obviously I'm trying to sell the book to every Tom, Dick, and Harry I meet on the street, and I don't go outside, but I'm still finding them. So I've already pre-sold 7. Anyone else who's bought 1 is buying 2, because I need them. I'm like, you got to buy 1. You can't have just the second book without the first book. That's stupid. How are you going to watch Toy Story 2 without watching Toy Story 1? You know what I mean? Doesn't make any sense. So I might hook you up with a little offer. I don't know. I might sign it. You never know.
Does that make me the teddy bear because I wasn't in the first one?
I was in the first one. Don't tell him
that. Does that make both of you the teddy bears?
Yeah. Just
you can be the teddy, I'll be the bear. It's got bear jokes in it. Nah, I don't know why I'm being. It's because I'm trying not to cry. I'm trying to be an idiot.
Can you just give us a little bit about your chapter, please?
To be honest, like when Pamela was actually just talking a minute ago, I was like, I've not read my chapter since I sent my chapter, or since I had to check it, and even then I just scan read it, like, I was like, what did I write again? I mean, I know I was a bit more as well in that sense of I didn't want it to be all dreaded and depressing and red-a-tat. It was more of a positive spin on, well, I hate the word positive in that sense, but a real spin on how my life's been in lockdown and out of lockdown, although I'm still in lockdown, but how meeting all you guys and all the things that were happening before meeting you guys and actual lockdown times, to how it's actually influenced my life in a way that I never expected. Because when all this stuff happened, which you'll read in the chapter, which is some of the reasons why I'm upset, like my grandma got put in a care home and I had an operation, and I won't tell you now, you have to read the chapter. And then all of that stuff, all of that stuff that happened though, like I wouldn't be here right now at all, and you don't know that. But like, it's not even a joke. If I didn't lose my job, if all these other things didn't happen, I would never have met you guys. I would not be in the book. You would not have a chapter to read from me. Like it is really mad how things happen, and sometimes as well, like you were saying earlier about just open your arms to opportunities. It's one of them ones as well. I was the same as well when you were saying earlier, why do you want me in the book? Like as in, that's what I was saying when you were saying, like, what, a book? We're going to be in the book. It's like, why would you want me in the book? Like, and then it's like, all right, yeah, let me do this. It's nice. It's blessings. I'm waffling now, and I'm sorry.
No, okay. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go to the others that are on, that are actually in the room at the moment now. And what I'd like, don't anybody take it, because we have got poets, we've got so many creatives today, but I'm going to ask Justa, I'm going to ask you if you would read us some, not from the book, because people need to buy the book to read it, but just something that you've written, poetry, spoken word, whatever it is. I'm going to speak to Cecile and to Nike, and if you would sort of give you a chance to sort of like find something. And if you'd share that with us, would you do that? Wonderful, wonderful. Cool, blimey. For those that are wondering who this lady is, Cecile, she's now part of management. Can you see she's got that kind of pose about her? I'm management. I'm... Oh, Cecile, bless you. Welcome, honey, welcome. Tell the masses, you know, we're being watched by the thousands now, the thousands globally. Tell them, I don't know, you were in book one as well, just part of your journey, and you're enjoying this journey, not just yourself, also with your daughter.
Okay, yeah, so I kind of said it earlier when we was on the show earlier, but again, so the day that Dee mentioned about book one was my birthday. I was on the Zoom with my daughter, the weekly Zoom, had a few to drink, so you know, we're all kind of merry and everything, and the proposal was made about this book. So both myself and Remy were like, yeah, that's fine, yeah, we can do that, that's okay. Then when we was on the Zoom the next week, the realization then hit, as in, oh, you were serious. This is a real thing. It's actually going to happen. What the hell am I going to write? How am I going to be in a book? Where on God's earth was I ever thinking I was going to be in a book? But we went with it. I haven't got one. So book number one, myself and my daughter are in book number one. And that was just absolutely fantastic. It was, I don't know, I'm still on that journey. And now myself and my daughter are in book number two. So this time was slightly different, as in, again, we discussed it. We're going to do book number two. I wasn't as scared as I was the first time, because this time I'm thinking, come on, we've done this. We've already done this. We can do this again. This is going to be fine. But the excitement is just there. You know, I need it in my hand, just like everybody else. When book number one came through the door and I opened it up and there it was just like, oh my gosh, look, I'm in a book. So just really excited for book number two. 23 of us, again, just mirrors everything that Hanifa was saying. You know, you're collaborating with people, you're talking to them about what are you putting in, what are you going to put in, I don't know what to do, and just the fact that we're all on this journey together and sharing it together is just immense. It's just absolutely immense. I'm just so excited, So the book's coming out, people. Everybody out there, the masses, the thousands that are watching this evening, books coming out. Yes, you can go to Amazon. You can go to Amazon and get it.
Not going to get it signed.
However, as Dee says, it won't be signed. So if you know me, drop me a message. If you know any of the others, drop them a message. You know, you can get the books from us. We'll sign them. If you get a book from me, you can have mine and Remy's signature, and I might pop to Dee's and Nike's as well, and Pam's only down the road, and get them to sign that as well. You know, that can work. We're just on this absolutely fabulous journey that Simply Deez has given us. You know, the basis is down to Dee and the people around her. And I think a few people have already said it. If you get that opportunity, you need to use these hands and just grab it. Just grab it. Any kind of opportunity now. You know, that's what you need to do. There's opportunities coming your way. Just grab them. If you're nervous, it doesn't matter, because so is everybody else. Just go with it. Yeah, that's me.
Definitely. I'm going to come to Nike in just one moment. I just wanted to say to you, Cecile, so for the masses that are out there, and I don't know, how would you I know you potentially haven't read book 2, but in terms of, let's talk about book 1. What would you say it's a book of? A book of, I know certainly people have described it as a book of hope.
Inspiration. It's a book of hope. It's a book of, people are on, every single author has written about a journey of some description. You know, yes, the first book was about life in a lockdown. Second book, we're out of lockdown. But actually, it's not necessarily about lockdown per se. It might be around other things that are happening in people's lives. It's around, it is hope. It is hope. But like I said, it's a journey, and there's inspiration in there. You know, people are talking about mental health and different things that have helped them along the way with their mental health. Mine is a follow-on from 1. So you need to read book 1 to know what I'm talking about in book 2. My daughter's, she's written in there about a relationship within our family, you know, and yes, as a family and people who know us might know these things, but actually she's gone even deeper, You need to get the book to see it. You know, you need to be able to read it. It's inspiration. It's all about, look at Nico, he's just getting excited now. But it is, it's about journeys, hope, inspiration, love, and coming out of tears, you know. So there might be tears. It's what's happening the other side.
It certainly is. And it's really important for people to know. Simply Deez have been in a position that this book has actually gone into. Where did Remy hand these books in, Cecile? I gave her some. Where did she take them?
So some of the books have gone into the L&D, onto the it's not called the Children's Ward because they're from babies to 18, but there's a couple of books have gone there. We've had a couple of books, 2 books I think we sent up to Leeds University, because Remy went to Leeds University. It's gone to other schools as well. It's gone into various different places. The books have gone, and I think it's just giving a lot of people some hope, especially, you know, during these dark times that we've had. So it's gone out there, and it needs to go further, and book number 2 is going to go even further.
Fab. I think Hanifa wants to say something.
Very quickly, thanks. Just a very quick one, just to say that, you know what, Veronica Ebanks, who is not with us, Miss V, who's not, I don't think she's on with us tonight. I can't see her if she is. But you know what? I really want to big up Veronica, because it was Veronica's initiative to actually get a book written in the very first place for book 1. So I just want to, these events has obviously been the vehicle for it, but the actual inspiration, the idea for the book came from V. And, you know, I've got so much, she's such a, for anyone who knows her, you'll know just what a warm and beautiful woman she is. And, you know, I just want to just remember her, wherever she is at this moment in time, whatever she's doing. I want to remember her, and I want to remember her role in getting us to where we are now, to book 2, because she was inspirational. She was the initiative taker for book 1. So thank you, V, wherever you are. If you're listening quietly, thank you so much. We wish you well. We love you. And we know that we stand on your shoulders. You know, now that we're in book 2, we're standing on your shoulders, and we thank you. We thank you. That's what I wanted to say. Bye.
Fabulous. That's wonderful, Hanifa. Thank you. I think it was Pamela that started and mentioned V also as well. So yeah, thank you very much for that. So Nike.
Oh, wow.
Welcome back again.
They're just joking. So hi, everybody. Thank you for watching. Yes, I'm Nikki. Chapter 6. this is from book 1. I'm looking forward to getting my book 2 one because this one's kind of worn out now. So yeah, I was chapter 6 in the first one. I've been promoted, and that kind of sort of links to what my chapter in the book is called. So I'm now chapter 15, and I don't even know what to say. Most of it has been said, but one thing I would say that's really funny, going back to what Cecile was saying, I didn't even think about it. Wendy said, "Oh, Nikki, we're doing this book. Do you want to be in the book?" And I'm like, yeah, I'll be in the book. I only really thought about, oh my God, what have I done when it was time, like I said this afternoon, to send it off. I'm like, oh my God. And I'm so glad that, oh my God, didn't turn into, oh my God, I've changed my mind. Because, like I said, we just get to meet so many wonderful people. And yeah, the chapter itself, yes, it does kind of link back. It does link back to book 1, but it's different again. It's different, and it's kind of, funny enough, I've actually kind of spoken about a few of those things. Those of you who catch me in the morning, you wouldn't know because I just mentioned it. It's just something that I tend to do. So yeah, that's the only hint I'm giving. So if you want to know any more, either you have to come and join me in my Facebook group or read the book. You're better off reading the book because there's 22 other people in there with very interesting things that I'm dying to read. So yeah, and just like I said this afternoon, the one thing that I would say is that when the opportunity knocks, just grab it. Even if you're scared, even if it's going to make you run helter-skelter, take you way out of the cliche that is now called the comfort zone, just do it. So that's all I can say is just do it. So, and yes, my name was around long before Nike, before anybody makes that connection. So, yeah.
Oh, you guys are so funny. So funny. I know it's hard to believe. I do have another guest that is waiting in the wings who will be coming on. So I just want to, if that's okay, because you guys know there's lots of shows. There's so many different things that we're going to be doing, promoting the new book. But I want to just finish. Justa, have you got something that you want to just share with us? Please.
Yeah, I've got something. Also, I just want to quickly say something about like what Cecile was saying about sharing with Remy and a few other people were saying, because I think I said this to you recently, it's really scary as well putting a chapter out there, even if it was a whole book or one chapter or one paragraph. It's also like what's the word? I'm great with words, and I'm talking of words. Like putting your like life out there is really hard, but empowering. That's the word. It's also empowering because me sharing initially like my story on the Women's International Day last year was how I ever became to do any of this stuff, as you know, because it was never. I've got PTSD and anxiety and depression, and I was a recluse for like 3 years, wouldn't let no one know what's going on with me. And now look at me telling everyone like I don't care. I do care, but it's more about like, the other things. So also as well, it is quite hard to put our chapters out there, but also it is quite empowering. So as well, if anyone ever feels like they want to tell their story, but they're also a bit dubious, check me, I read the dictionary. There will be, don't worry, man, do your thing. Like it's empowering and it's your story and you're telling it. And yeah, you know. Anyway, I know we ain't got time, so I will quickly read my poem, yeah? I might cry, I'm not going to lie, because this is a poem I wrote for Grandma before she died, and I've not read it for a week or so, more than that. I don't know. So, yeah, it's going to be hard, but yeah, I'll keep it real, you know what I mean? It's why I look so good right now. All right, you won't be able to see, I won't be able to see you when I'm reading it, which is good. So don't cry on me. All right. Broken circuit, incomplete, hierarchy, rock of the family, mom, dad, grandma, granddad. Weekends at church, polishing the back of chairs, stacking Bibles and sorting flowers, learning values, seeing a real life queen, educating, teaching, baking techniques over dodgy radio beats, show me our heritage with plates filled with memories. From your youth, Guyanese roots, reach far, planting the seeds that grow in me. The strongest, bestest, most all and everything. Superwoman, warrior, grandma. Seeing you broken makes no sense. You're meant to live for an eternity. You can't leave. The world doesn't spin like it did. Food doesn't taste the same. Straight lines, zigzag. You left long before your physical being swapped with a frail old lady, repeating memories of a nursing training, saying goodbye again, brain and body broken, stolen by a curse called Parkinson's, a shell of your former being, reminding me of all the things you taught me. Even when you weren't sleeping, just resting your eyelids, you saw my goals, showed me morals, random remedies and superstitious myths. Ears burning, give me a number. Hand itching, money coming. Foot burning, where you going? Folklores and customs I can't ignore. If you weren't at church or standing over the stove, catch you in the bingo hall, waiting on that one last number for the big windfall. Weekend spent with you, church was a ritual. 9 o'clock sessions followed by the main service. Always taught me to pray to him. Hours cooking was a given. Not before endless chores you enjoyed, serving everybody daily. Changing the autocloth, ironing for everybody, sewing for so-and-so. Going to town, never ending. Ended up bumping into, what's their name again? I have no idea, was always your reply after I watched you ask about the family, always sending positive vibes. Remember when every frame was adorned with a golden boy, unincluded, empty portraits. You changed every windowsill to show you do love me too. I'd give anything to hear you speak. Complaining about the pain in your knee or that you missed a big win. Please just say something, anything. Nice grammar, nice. Is that whole thing? Always trying to make me eat. Your recipes, the ultimate feast. I should have learned more and remembered it twice. Listened louder, spoke quieter, saw more. Remembered it all. Soaked up that knowledge of a better human being. Instead, I didn't fully appreciate your specialness. Now I'm stuck, forever missing everything you ever did. Sorry. It's really raw right now. It's really hard.
Yeah. Same thing. You know, we speak all the time. Much love from the whole of the Simply Deez Life Inner Outer crew. I must admit, I was praying you weren't going to read that, Mum.
I had to, man.
I know, but I was, yeah.
I did good there. I didn't really cry that much.
You did.
Like,
You will later,
yeah.
but you did good. So thank you so much for sharing Just Art, and not just that, for being on. And, you know, we're all learning. We're all on a journey. And thank you so much for being part of that journey with us.
Yeah, and sorry for all like my waffling and whatever, but you know I'm being real with the situation. I ain't hiding nothing. Like, my heart's broken and I'm struggling, and you know.
And you don't need to apologise. You do
you.
not need to apologise for any of it.
Thank you.
Tell her again, Cecile.
You don't need to apologise. It's real talk. It's real talk, and that's what you always do, Justar, is you do real talk, and that's what you're doing. Okay?
Thanks, guys.
You're just being you. No airs, no graces, just being Justar. So we love you just the same, girl.
Love you too, sis. Big up, gang. And this is what, you know, this guy is like, people don't understand, man. Life in lockdown, all of this stuff. This is like not just for show, and there's more people behind the scenes. This is a real family.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Shelley, producer, I don't know if I've got my final guest waiting in the wings. Whilst this young man comes on, it's only right that we continue promo, i.e. as in I am wearing Life Outta Lockdown hoodie. There will be a website where you can purchase merchandise as well as the books, as well as, I couldn't bring everything, guys, because they're all knocking around some places. That's it, Leah, show them, as well as the calendar. You guys are going like, oh my gosh, they've gone all out. Shell, have we got my final guest? Is he there? No,
yes,
yeah?
Yep.
Yeah, no?
Yeah.
Oh, he is. Okay, please, thank you all, honestly, thank you all so much for coming on and sharing. You know there's going to be much more opportunities. Please, I'm going to kick you, well, Shelly is going to kick you off screen now, but please watch. This young man is absolutely, I don't even know, on another level. I met him in person, 2019. Do you know that was 2019 we met, Ox? When you came down to Luton for the international men's event. That was November 2019. I can't believe it.
Your vocal's slightly cutting out. I can't quite hear you properly.
Really?
Yeah, kind of cutting in and out.
I don't know why. I don't know why.
There you go. You're good.
Tell us.
I can hear you now.
I'm good.
How you doing?
Welcome. This has been a roller coaster of a show. I don't know if you saw the young man earlier on, the boxer. He was on and has shared his journey. And I was just saying, thank you so much for coming on. And the fact that we met November 2019 when you came to Luton. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Yeah, for the international men's event.
Still kind of cutting in and out a little bit. I'm really sorry.
Do you remember?
Yeah.
Am I? I'm going to log on. I'm going to log on my phone. But Ox, what I need for you to do, we need to go back, because the guys out there, some people will know you, a lot of people don't know you, who you are. So I'm going to go back because
I can't hear you properly. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, she was having a bit of problems earlier, and now it's doing it again.
Don't know why that is.
Yeah, the problems you had.
I'm going to come in
earlier,
on my phone.
They've come back. Yeah.
Should I go in? Should I come out and come back in?
No, you don't need to. It was Dee that was having problems.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can hear you perfectly fine.
Yeah. Hopefully, when
I'm
we normally get this
Can
bit,
you see me?
back.
Yeah.
Yay!
Yeah.
Ox.
Yeah, you sound clearer now.
Great. What was going to say? I've said to everybody out there, some people know you, some people don't.
Yeah.
I said we met in 2019 at the international men's event.
That's right.
If you remember, you came down to Luton, and I've been following you.
That was a good day.
I've been following you.
Right.
And it was really important. This is my very first show of 2022, my very first show, and I wanted you on.
No, I'm grateful.
I know, and I need. For me, your journey is amazing. You've been on an amazing journey, and it's so important that people out there, the masses, understand that life isn't just, and you've got to work and all the rest that goes with it. So this show don't finish till 10, my dear. So we got time. We got time. So I know you were born in Nigeria, but I need you to kind of just you know, just talk. We're just having a conversation. This isn't an interview. We're just having a conversation. So, yeah, you're born in Nigeria. You don't need to tell us how old you are. So you're one of how many?
My dad's got like 11 kids.
How many?
Basically, my dad's got 11 children. But
I did hear you, but I wanted to hear you if I said it.
Yeah, my mum had 6 kids, and I was
Wow.
my mum's last child.
Older baby one, right?
Yeah, I was my mum's baby. Yeah, but I never really weird because I didn't really know my mum, because basically when I was really young, my mum and dad separated, and I basically went to live with, like, most of the children went to live with my dad, if not all the children. So I never really got a chance to like have time with my mum, so I don't really know her like that. Do you know what I mean? So
okay, so
yeah,
is this in Nigeria? Is this in Nigeria we're talking?
This is Nigeria, yeah.
Okay, so how was that for you growing up?
It was.
If you don't mind sharing.
When I was younger, I don't think I noticed it as much as I noticed it in my older years, because I had a lot of sisters, and I think sisters
they took on that motherly role.
They can mirror it. They can mirror it.
Yeah.
So they can give you a piece of it. So I think, and I had about 4 sisters that lived with me when I was really little. So I got a piece of that motherly thing, but I never got the real motherly love. Do you know what I mean? But I got a bit of it, so I didn't really notice it when I was young, you know, because my dad was my hero. So that's all that really filled my mind, was my dad. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's yeah, it's a bit of a weird one when I think about it, because in later years now I understand what I missed. Do you know what I mean? Because abandonment issues, there's loads of issues that come from when a boy doesn't have his mother. There's things that he struggles with, and in later years and even being sectioned and stuff and being in the mental hospital, there was things that I've learned that I was struggling with, and that came from a lack of that
motherly side, the motherly love. So when did you actually, how old were you when you came to the UK?
I was 10 years old. I was 10 years old when I came here. Yeah.
So did you come with your dad? Did you come with your siblings?
I came because basically what my dad did, which I've got to salute him for, he was basically trying to get all his daughters into England. So he brought all his daughters here, and it was me and one of my older brothers that actually came here. But it was all like one at a time. But me and my sister were the last 2 that came. So he brought me and my sister, the sister that's next to me, above me. We came together with my dad.
Oh, wow.
So it was, it was a memorable trip.
So at that age, I'm just thinking, at that age, I presume at 10, you don't know anything at 10. You must have found it all exciting, all great, and all, you know.
Yeah, it was a bit daunting. It was a little bit daunting, because obviously you're going to a whole new country. But then at the same time, you got all these, like when you're in Africa, especially like the same as when you're in the West Indies, there's a lot of kind of stories that are told
perception,
about life. Perception of what it's like. So, and I constantly had like brothers and sisters who would be sending things over at Christmas time or on your birthday. So it was definitely exciting, but it was also, you don't know where you're going. You know what I mean? And there was a little bit of fear there, but it was more excitement than fear. You know what I mean?
So how do you feel you kind of like settled in, living, you know, obviously your first 10 years, you're in Nigeria, it's hot, obviously your family around, and then coming here, it's cold, it's miserable, it's not the land of milk and honey.
It was so cold, it was really cold, and there was loads of snow, and I'd never seen snow before. So it was,
yeah,
I'd never seen snow before, and I hadn't even seen that much white people before. So I think even seeing the white people, because there was a story that I was told that when I was little, my dad brought this white man home. This is back in Nigeria, and I literally ran, like I jumped out of whoever was carrying me. I jumped out of their arm and I ran away, like I ran from this white man. So there was always that thing of, this seems like a movie, because when you come from somewhere where everyone's black, it seemed like movies. It's like, even like the girls in my primary school, they had really blonde hair. it looked like something out of a film. It was so peculiar, like it was so peculiar, and it took a while to adjust to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, it was, and I miss home. I really did miss. I missed home so much because all my friends were back home, and I missed home so badly. And I didn't realize back then. It's just back then you have moments when you're a kid where you're just wondering what you're doing, or you're wondering where you're going, and you're wondering what's happening to you. Because as a kid, you're just following instruction. You're just following what you're being told to do. But there'll be moments where you're in this new world and you're lonely because the people who you would normally go and or play with every day, they're not there no more. So there was a long period of adjustment that, yeah, I guess my dad tried his best, but yeah, I did miss home. I missed home, man. I missed home a lot.
Okay, so so at 10, you're literally probably more or less kind of going into high school. Then you're probably last year of primary, going into high school.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, when you over.
I think I did the last a year and a half of primary. So I got to meet, like, I got to make friends and progress into secondary school, almost not like a kid from England, but I was in the mix more by the time I got to secondary school. I probably still had my accent. I still had a bit of an accent, but it wasn't as noticeable as when I first came. And it was just, but I remember my dad constantly telling me, just adjust. And then he would stop speaking my language more. Like he wouldn't speak my language as much as he did back home because he wanted me to be more comfortable with English. So he would talk to me more in English, which I wish he didn't. I wish he hadn't done that. Do you know what I mean? But he did. And all this was trying to get me to get used to where I was.
Adapt and fit in and
So it was, that little period there was kind of interesting. But at the same time, when you're a kid like that, like I said, you're just listening to what this person is telling you to do. Like, so it's just in retrospect. It's interesting, It's interesting.
So high school was kind of like, I don't know. Did you enjoy it?
Secondary school, I think the early part of secondary school, I missed my mum a lot because I remember I used to write letters to my mum, but I would never send them. I wouldn't talk to my dad about it because my dad didn't really have anything really great to say about my mum. Their separation wasn't that good. So there was no way for me to send these things. So I would write them and just have them in my room. And then I remember going towards middle of secondary school, high school, towards the end, I didn't think about my mum as much anymore. When I got towards the end of secondary school, I didn't really think about my mum no more because you're really caught up with this thing of, your teenage years, your friends, and who you're starting to become, the things you like, music, films, different things start taking over, you know what I mean? And you don't, like, how I look at it is, because every person that I met, they tell me, especially boys, men, they tell me the importance of their mum in their life. And for me, I got to a stage where I didn't even miss my mum no more. And when I think about that, I didn't even think about her. And I just sometimes wonder, what was I thinking about? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, where was I getting?
You didn't have her in your life to think about her, though. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I guess so.
Because you're then putting that on yourself. Where are those letters?
You know what? I honestly don't know. They might be at my dad's. They might be at my dad's somewhere. Yeah, they might be at my dad's somewhere. I haven't seen those things in so long. You
didn't throw them away?
No, I didn't throw them away. I remember receiving something from my mum once. I think it was like a birthday card. And I remember that made me real happy. I used to read that all the time. But it was like a handmade card.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a card you buy from the shop. It was like, and I remember looking at that all the time. But yeah, it's weird. It's weird when you don't miss what you don't know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what you're saying, isn't it?
Yeah. It's really weird, but it's something
that
I really longed for. Yeah, I really longed for that. It's crazy, man. But yeah, man. We progress. I guess that's what's giving me some of the motivation as well. It's giving me some of the motivation and drive.
Everything that we go through, it's we're being taught something, aren't we? We're being taught. At the time, we don't understand, we don't realise, we don't know. And all the things that you're sort of like saying now is like the impact of certain things back then. Because what I want to do is obviously, you know, we're going to kind of bring it up to date in a while, and all that sort of stuff that you're talking now. Because if we don't talk this now, people aren't going to understand where you are now and what you're doing.
Of course.
They're going to think, oh, right, he's doing this, but not understanding how you got to be where you are. So, so high school, you do high school. How did you get on? Do you get
high school?
What are they? O levels, A levels? I don't know.
I did GCSEs, but I didn't. I don't know. I think because I did okay with my GCSEs, but I didn't do nowhere near as well as I should have. And it wasn't because I wasn't in the good. I was in the good groups, in the good classes. I was in the top sets or whatever. But for some reason, I was easily not having any siblings like that were near my age. Like my oldest sibling next to me was 6 years older than me. That was my next sister above me. So that's quite a big jump. You know what I mean?
It is at that age, yeah.
By the time I was like 15, she had already left the house. So it was just me and my dad.
Wow.
So when it came to like friends played a big part in my life, because I never had a little brother at that time. I never had any kind of anybody in the house that I didn't need to go outside because I had this. My house was very lonely. It was just me and my dad was hardball. So friends played a big role, and friends can distract you. And I understand. And looking back now, if you go speak to all my teachers in school, they will tell you that, oh, he's got an amazing.
Be distracted.
He's going to be that. But then I just wouldn't take certain parts of the schoolwork serious enough. And I think that's probably why I didn't do as well as I should have. But I did okay. I went on to college and I went on to uni. So I did all right. I did okay.
But what I always say, because like Jordan, my son, you met him, he was at the International Men's event. And if you think about it now, schools haven't changed really.
No.
I don't even know how many years. They've not changed. So if you've got a class of, I don't know, let's say 30 children, and you're the one teacher that is teaching this class, we're expecting all 30 of you to learn the way that one teacher is teaching you. There's no way. Everybody's different. And we're trying to fit everybody into this square, and everybody's supposed to be fitting into this square. And it doesn't work. So that's why distracted.
Yeah.
Well,
and
you may have a different way of learning.
I never really had teachers that, because you know, sometimes you might have that teacher, or you have teachers that you're like, you super relate to, or you look at them, you see a bit of you in them, or they see a bit of themselves in you, and you can see that effort across. I never really had teachers like that. There was a head teacher, you might have heard about him, Mr. Atkinson. He ended up being a part of the Labour government. I don't know. I think he ended up being an MP. I think his name was William Atkinson. He was my head teacher for a while. I'm not sure if he became a sir, but I'm sure he had some sort of queen title. He was a black guy. He used to be a boxer, and he came when there was about 2 years left of me being in high school. And I'll be honest, he saved a lot of us, because a lot of us, if he didn't come in, he used to take about 10 of us at the end of the day, and he would have us outside his office, the head teacher's office, and he would have us in there one at a time, and he would give us like mentoring. He did a bit of mentoring, and he saved a couple people that 100% they would have been kicked out. 100% they would have probably ended up going a different route really early. Yeah. And if there were more teachers like that, I think school would have been a lot more positive, and we probably would have got a lot more better results out of it. Do you know what I mean? Because the teachers that we had, whether it was science, history, these people couldn't really relate to you. I think my English teacher was the only person that, Mr. Sweeney, I could really relate to. This white guy, but he was so, like, he was one of those guys that just got on with the world, and he was funny. He was so funny, but he was intelligent, and he knew how to get the best out of you. But how to get the best out of you.
That's just it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Trying to get the best out of those young, those young people. And I don't know. I don't think some people understand the fundamental role that the teachers do have. You spend so much time at home, but you spend more time actually at school.
Teacher. Yeah, man.
And if that,
a caring teacher can shape you. If the teacher cares, and you can tell they care, all of a sudden put something in you, because then you don't want to let them down. But if you think the teacher doesn't care, then it's like, because you're learning things for the first time. Your brain's taking these things in for the first time. So how that stuff comes across is important, you know? It's really important. But 30 kids to one teacher, that makes no sense. But that's where we are, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So as a teacher now, so you know, there's people out there that think we're teacher bashing, and that is not what we're doing at all. How are we expecting one teacher, one teacher to control a class of 30 or even 30 plus? They're spending more time trying to control the class than actually doing the teaching, which is what they're there to do.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. That structure doesn't really make sense. And when you look at the more money you have in this world and you can put your kids into certain different types of schools, those classes, it's half of that, even less. You got 12 people in a class, 12 kids in a class, and all of a sudden the teacher can have ample time with each. These kids are going to learn more. They're definitely going to learn more. It just makes more sense. Yeah, it just makes more sense.
Oh, it so does. So we're kind of because we're going to keep it moving. So you did the school, you got your, and then you went to, where did you say you went to? Did you say you went to uni?
Yeah, I went to. It used to be called South Thames University, but now it's called West London University, or University of West London, I think it's called now. But yeah, I went there and I did a marketing degree. So
if you say marketing to me, I like look at you and I think marketing.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I wanted to do my heart when I was in college. I wanted to do psychology, but I completely got talked out of it by I think it was like a careers lady.
Do you know what? How many people say, because you know you have this conversation with the careers person, and you may have your idea, which might, whatever that might be, and I don't see you doing that. I can't see you doing that. And the next minute you've changed your mind.
Yeah, no, but what it was so many people told me that I wouldn't go to university. Like my dad always used to remind me about that, because I went to a college called Richmond College, and some of the teachers there wrote a letter to my dad saying, because when you're young, you're rebellious at times, saying, he doesn't take his studies serious enough. We don't think he's university material, blah, blah, blah. So when it came to the time for me to actually apply for uni and whatnot, it was almost, I just need to make sure I do this for my dad, just to show him that anybody that thought his son couldn't go to uni,
written him off. Yeah,
I just needed to go. Do you know what I mean? When really and truly, I should have been more thinking in a more purposeful way. But a lot of African kids, and I can say that being someone that was born there, we do a lot of stuff to appease our parents. That's like
I was just going to say.
Yeah, that's like a huge thing, because it's cultural, and it's like, as far as I can appease them, or I can appease him, appease her, then I can live my life. Like, do you know what I mean? It's just how it kind of works. Like, so.
Would you say your dad was strict?
He was more than strict, man. He was. My dad was right. If he was wrong, he was still right. That's the best way to put it. If he was wrong, he was still right. That's my dad. Like,
I don't know. I would listen. Sorry?
No, I said he passed away last year. My dad passed away last year. So
I remember. And we're talking following.
If he was wrong, he was still right. That's the best way to put it. But he was a super hardworking man, and he sacrificed so much for his children, and all the evidence is there of that, you know. And I just think he's such an OG. Like for someone to take all his daughters out of a place that he thought it wasn't good for them, and he tried to make sure not one of them was left there. And it took a lot of work back then to do things like that. There was no internet, so you couldn't apply for passport online and do these things online. You had to get a car and drive across the country, and he did that over and over for so many of his children, and that's a sign of a good man, you know. So
most definitely.
Yeah, man.
Oh my gosh, most definitely. So you kind of, and I get to an extent, as you sort of saying about appeasing, and that's what he wanted. Would you, if it wasn't for your dad and knowing that cultural element of having to go to like university, because it's kind of, we all, I remember as a sort of like, I suppose, as a British Caribbean, should I say, but it's always the Africans, they had it drummed into them. Education, education, education. And we, as in Caribbeans, needed to be more like yourselves that had that drummed in education, education, education. So would you think you would have followed that path if it wasn't for your dad? I mean, as in uni and all that sort of stuff?
I probably would have, because I had, like, my sister above me, she went to uni and she became a nurse. So that's something I saw. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I just don't know what would have happened if my dad weren't there. For all I know, I could have ended up being a street kid, and all I did was focus on the street. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I'm not too sure what I would have done if he wasn't there, because he was such an influence on me in terms of, my worst fear was the police coming to my house. That was my worst fear. I'm talking my worst fear. I didn't want to embarrass my dad. Do you know what I mean? Because the amount of things he had told me, the things that happened to my older brothers, the sacrifices he had made. Like, my dad was a great manipulator. I love him, but he was like an amazing manipulator in terms of, you see, when a parent has loads of children, if a parent has 10 kids, or if a parent has a man and woman, they've got 15 kids, or they got 9 kids, they've got to find little ways to control the children. So some parents might use one child to be like a little sergeant that reports on all the other kids. You know what I mean? Different parents will have different little, and I guess maybe you might go into it like this, but you, over the years, you work out what works for you as a parent. Do you know what I mean? So my dad had their little ways of how he would make you feel bad, or he would make you really think about a situation by the words he chose and by the way he explained it, using like some of your siblings as examples, or he was just a very clever man, but sometimes he did use manipulation, you know what I mean? But I'm assuming it was for the greater good. It was for the greater good, but it was I don't know, it was a test.
You wouldn't have thought that at the time, though.
Pardon?
You wouldn't have been thinking that at the time. You'd be thinking, like, my gosh, cut me some slack.
No, at the time you're thinking, why is he being so wicked? Like, why?
I remember that.
I want freedom. Like, why won't you let me be free? Like, and my dad had this saying, and this saying so powerful, because it's like, I see it all the time, and I've seen it in my friends. Yeah, he used to say to me all the time, freedom is a good thing, but he said uncontrolled freedom in children will destroy them. And he used to repeat that all the time. That was like his mantra. Uncontrolled.
I need you to say that again.
Destroy you. Basically, he used to say, freedom is good. Yeah, freedom's a good thing. But he used to say, uncontrolled freedom would destroy a child. And when you used to hear that as a 14-year-old or as a 15-year-old, you used to think, oh my God, like, allow me, bruv. But when you think about it now, and you look at society, and you look at our children, and you look at what's going on the street, it's all due to uncontrolled freedom, because these kids have been given a level of freedom that you're destroying and stealing from these children by giving them that level of freedom. You're actually stealing from them, because you're not giving them a chance to be a child. You know, you're letting a 10-year-old, an 11 or 12-year-old roam the street. Like, what do you think's gonna happen to him or her? Do you understand what I'm saying to you? And even now, where you've got all these mobile phones, there's more ways to check up on the child and make sure you know where your child is and things of that nature.
Yeah.
But people are so slack now, and not even now. Back then it was that. That's why my dad was so protective, because that uncontrolled freedom thing has always been there.
Did you have a phone?
Pardon?
Did you have a phone?
No, not until I was about 16.
That's what I'm saying.
When I got my first mobile.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I got about 16. But
I was 33.
There was no way of my dad getting hold of me, but my dad made it clear you had to be in by this time. And if you're not in by this time, there's going to be a latch on the door. And then when the latch goes on the door, it's like,
I remember them times, yeah.
It's a different ball game when the latch is on the door. Do you know what I mean? It's a different ball game now. So you don't want to be caught out in the winter time when the latch is on the door and then you're out there trying to figure out how to get in. You know what I mean? So I just think parents now just aren't they're not parents as much. They're more friends of their children and they're guardians, and they look after these children and they live with them. But to be a parent, it's a different dynamic. It's a different dynamic. Different dynamic.
200%. 200%. So what some parents would certainly throw at you now is they would talk about discipline.
Yeah.
That's been taken away, so we can't discipline them. So
yeah,
we don't know what to do.
No, it's okay. So look, I'll give you an example. Obviously, I grew up in Nigeria, yeah? So what I'm going to tell you now has nothing to do with hitting a child. Yeah? Nothing whatsoever.
Yes.
Yeah? So I remember being like 3, 4, 5 years old, yeah? And I might be doing something wrong, or I might be on the verge of doing something wrong. You can see me, I'm starting to act up, or whatever it may be, yeah?
Yeah.
My brother, my brother called Ego, my sister called Florence. Those two, they could look at me, yeah? They might be in the room with me, yeah? Or they can hear me, they're outside the room. They would walk in the room or they're in the room, they would just give me a glance. You see that glance at 5 years old, at 4 years old, I'm going to stop what I was doing. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? I'm going to stop it. So if that's the mentality of a child at 4, 5, that's going to be an obedient child at 13, 14. If those teachings carry on that same way. We're not talking about abuse and you hitting a child. And we're not talking about that. But you're talking about chastising a child. It says that in the Bible. You're meant to do that. You're meant to discipline the child. Because if you don't, you're stealing from the child. Do you know what I mean? Because it's a child. He does not know no better. Do you know what I mean? A child will put its hand on a hot stove if you let it. Yeah. That's the mind of a child. Because it's like a sponge. It's still trying to work stuff out constantly. So if you ain't putting nothing there to keep that child safe, or to guide the experimenting that's going on, a child should experiment. But how much experimenting should a child do? And should you still be experimenting at 19? Should you still be experimenting at 21? Shouldn't you already have a sense of what's right and what's wrong, and have some, do you know what I mean? Some morals and some, you know what I mean? Some guidance to go by. So it's I think a lot of it starts from early, but I think in the Western culture,
that's a foundation, isn't it?
Yeah, in the Western culture, I think kids are allowed to do a little bit too much at a young age. I'm talking from 2, 3, 4, just little things from that age there, because that's how it starts. And then when the child gets to 8, 9, the child's telling you to shut up, or shush, mum, or oh, mum, stop it. Are you mad? Like, who are you talking to? Because that's how it. It's not even funny.
I know.
I'll give you this, yeah. I've got a daughter. My daughter's 12 years old, yeah. Me and my daughter's mum broke up when my daughter was about 6 months. So we've not been together most of her life, yeah. On Christmas Day, just gone, I went there to drop presents, yeah. I was in one room and my daughter was in another room with the mum and the nan. And I heard the mum ask her, oh, Inja, come over here and help me grab this thing. Or, Inja, come here and hold this thing. And you know what she said? She said, oh, why? Oh, my God. She said, why? That's what Inja said. My daughter, 12 years old. She said, oh, why? When I told you quick, I said, Inja, what did you just say? I said, I don't want to ever hear you say why to your mum asking you to do something. Never. And the mum didn't have nothing to say because that's their normal.
Allowing.
That's their dynamic. She allows it for her to say. And those little things, they start small. They start really small. But bit by bit, they turn into the child. What the child thinks. A child's not meant to tell you what they think. I'll be honest with you, because you're somebody that's got knowledge of this world up to the age that you are, whether you're in your 30s or whatever. How is a 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old telling you what it is? But this is where we are. This is what we allow. Do you know what I mean? And the results of it is what we're seeing when these kids get to 14, 15, 16. They roam in the street. And
well, even younger than that,
yeah, man.
isn't it?
Yeah, man.
Even
kids are dying.
younger than
We've
that.
got too much freedom. There's too much freedom for these children. Too much freedom, man. Too much.
So, Mr. University.
Yeah.
Marketing.
Yeah.
Did you get your degree? Did you get it? Did you get your master's?
Yeah,
your degree?
I did it. I think I ended up getting a 2. I think I got a 2-2. So I did okay. I did all right. I did my dissertation. It was good. It was like the size of a book. And I did it. It was an amazing. It was a really good experience, and I really tell people, even if you're not coming from a place of academics, university is a wonderful experience. It's an amazing experience. Just the way it gets you to be a critical thinker, and that's something that we all can like. Do you know what I mean?
Benefit from.
Get something from, yeah, man. Like, and it teaches you stuff like time management skills, and it teaches you that you can do something that you didn't think you could do, because you might not think you can write 15,000 words, but you're gonna write it. you're gonna write it. You know what I mean? So there's things I didn't think I could do. There was people I didn't think I would be around, that I would have a relationship with. I didn't think Chinese people would think I was funny and they would want to sit with me. You know what I mean? And have things in common with me. But at uni, you're going to have Chinese friends, and you're going to have different people of different cultures that you're going to be in the shit house with, trying to get an assignment done. And do you know what I mean? And it's just, it opens your mind to just different aspects of life, man. So I advise anybody that's got children.
So you enjoyed that then? You enjoyed that?
Did I enjoy uni? Yeah, I did. I did. Because
what was I going to say? I meant to ask. Did you travel, or were you actually at home and go to uni? Because that's two different things. If you literally are,
I didn't get the full-on experience. I was at home. My university was in Ealing, and I live in Shepherd's Bush, so I was just going to uni every day. But I never stayed in the dorms But I think by that age, me and my dad's relationship was different. It weren't like when I was 15 or when I was 40.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't the same anymore. It was more of a passing relationship. Do you know what I mean? I'm just kind of talking to him when I have to. I don't need to. Do you know what I mean? It's just, it was a different time. But uni was good. It was a good time.
Okay,
Definitely.
so this, you realise after speaking to me for probably about half an hour, 45 minutes now, you do realise this is a bit of like this is your life.
No, you're good, man. You're good, man.
So uni did okay, marketing. What's next? What are you doing? Are you working?
Okay,
or
so at that time,
what's next?
I was working in Blockbusters.
I
was working in Clark's, because I've always worked. Like, I've always kind of worked. Like, whether I hustled a little bit here or there, I've always had a job, because I've always had this. I think it was my dad and my siblings. They always worked and they studied, so I always had that kind of, and I wanted money, and I wasn't gonna go and rob and steal. So I had jobs. You know what I mean? So at the end of uni, I was working at Clark's part-time. And I remember when uni finished, I went to Miami. And this is how I got into music. So I went to Miami with some friends of mine from school. And this is the first time going to America. And it was weird.
Yeah.
And in America, they've got this whole, especially the black people, they've got this kind of get up and go mentality, in terms of like, they're very self-made. You know, like, especially in the music industry, Motown, all this stuff. So while we was in Miami, there was loads of like channels, cable channels, where it was just like program after program, this show, this black show, that show, this talk show, this music show. And I was just blown away. I was thinking to myself, there's nothing like this back home, like back in England. There's nothing like this. So literally, the idea came to my mind to create a show called Bound to Blow, which would be like something to showcase talent and give on. The whole idea was, it had like a bit of a mission statement. It was a platform for untapped talent. That's basically what it was, to give untapped talent a chance to shine. So at that time, I didn't think of me being an artist in any way whatsoever, because I didn't have that confidence. And that again goes back to my mum. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So the same camera that I took on holiday to film in Miami, as soon as I got back, I got into my little Fiat Punto, and I just started going around filming different people that people told me were gonna blow. If someone said, "Oh, this guy's got good talent, he's gonna blow, bro," boom, show me him. I would go, and I had a good musical ear, like, because me and some of my friends, we were really like music connoisseurs, so we knew about all the top rappers in America and all the top singers. And I was like an R&B enthusiast because of my sisters. Like, I grew up with posters all over my wall of like R&B
we weren't
singers,
allowed
basically.
posters in my time. You're
Yeah,
mad.
so I really grew up with that influence. Do you know what I mean? So when it came to assessing talent, I could easily tell you, yeah, that person's got it. And 2-3 years from now, you would see, yeah, they're making money from this music thing. So I had an ear. So went around filming, and bit by bit, you just started filming more. There was more higher level artists was just appearing. People that had record deals, like people that had like massive fan bases. And then when these DVDs came out, because it was on DVD format back then, you know, the disc. And when that came out, it started getting bootlegged. So people were bootlegging the DVD and selling it in Wembley Market, this market. It was too many markets for us to go down there and start arguing. What are you doing? You're selling our stuff. It was too much. So we just made a little bit of money that we could make from it. But then basically that led me, because we made like a volume 1, then a volume 2. This is straight off after uni as well. So I never finished uni and went to get a job. It was like, this became my job, like making money from selling the DVDs. And then
hang on. Sorry to stop you. I'm just thinking, as a parent, you've gone to uni. I'm like, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. Then you tell me you've gone Miami. That's fine. You've studied for so long. And then when you come back, you tell me you want to sell DVD.
Yeah. No, but it was working. And it's like money was coming from it. You know what I mean? So, and you see parents, when they see the child is happy and they can see there's no danger and they can see the child's busy and there's progression, a lot of parents would give that space to see what happens. Like, they're not going to be like, "Oh, what are you doing?" As far as it's not drugs and it's not that, do you know what I mean? So there was a lot of that going on. There was loads of movement. I was editing every day. There was people always coming to the house. People want to buy this DVD. So my dad saw some of that. But remember, he's from a different culture. So he doesn't understand what's going on fully. He just knows you seem happy. You're always in and out the house. You've got these DVDs that you're talking about. But I've already done what he wants, which is the uni. I've already got the degree. And he's got that now. He's got the picture in his room. He can phone home. He can phone home. And when he gets phone calls from home, he can say, "Oh, yes, he's finished. He got the degree." He can do his thing, like what he wants. Do you know what I mean? So that was kind of like checked off kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? But like I said, from doing the filming these DVDs, I actually got into group management, because one of the groups that was on the DVD, me and a friend of mine started managing them, and they started getting big, and that was blowing up, and that was blowing up. And then eventually we had a show in Reading, and that's where I got shot, at the show in Reading with the group.
You're speaking and everyone's kind of like, and then it's like, whoa. So you're talking about group, and then you're talking about shot. We have no correlation of this. We've not talked this yet. So you need to fill the gaps then. Fill the gaps.
Literally, these things were so close in, because I finished uni in 2002. I think 2002. I've gone to Miami in 2003. I've started filming the DVD in 2003. 2004, the first DVD came out. 2005, the second DVD came out. So all those, I'm editing, filming, getting the brand out, building the brand, trying to come up with a website, just doing loads of stuff. Trying to build the team, cameramen. I'm the cameraman 1 minute. Then there's another camera, all this different stuff's going on. And then by 2006, the group was starting to really pick up pace. It was a group called Young Blood Militia, YBM. And they was really, so there was interviews, there was music videos, we're filming music videos. And then by the end of 2006, that's when I got shot. So it all happened between uni ending and me getting shot was like 3 years. So it happened all like in such a short space of time. Such a short space of time.
So can we go there? I mean, can we kind of like,
Yeah,
you're da-da-da, and then I got shot, and I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, I've spoken about it, man. I've spoken about it. It's
I've heard
it's something
this.
I used
The
to
guys
struggle
out there haven't.
Yeah, I used to struggle with it before, but I think the therapy and all that, because I had some really good therapy in 2015, and that therapy, it kind of helped me with just engaging with emotions and engaging with feelings. And emotions, they're just things that you feel. So when it comes to talking about trauma now, I can talk about it, and there isn't as much residual things left in the air. Do you understand what I mean? Because I've processed it more, and it's more like a memory now, more than, obviously it's still trauma, but it's in a different place in my mind now. Do you know what I mean? So, and I didn't do nothing wrong. At the end of the day, you know, like that's the one thing I've learned in life. You see, if you're in a righteous position and you haven't done nothing wrong, like eventually your story will be told, whether it's by you or it's by someone else. As far as you stood righteous and you didn't do anything wrong, everything will fall into place, man. And literally at that night, I've gone to this place to help this group go to the next level of where they need to go. And it just happened to be there were people in there that had a lot of hate and envy for the group. But this is stuff I didn't know, you know? And it was, like I said, the group was called YBM, Young Blood Militia. But there was an estate, a council estate in Peckham, which had a nickname called YBM also. But their YBM stood for, I think it was Yellow Brick Mandem. And it was like they were really like a well-known, I didn't know at the time, but supposedly they were like a well-known, like high level, they were doing a lot of stuff. So they tried to pick on some of the members of the group, or one guy in particular. And I just coincidentally happened to see it. From where I was standing, I happened to see the guy barge that guy, and they were kind of tussling. So I've quickly just jetted over there, separated it, tried to bring calm.
Music,
Doing? Come on, we're not here for this. We're here for music. Blah, 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 blah. All of a sudden, a bunch of, they've just come out of the shadows. You don't know who we are. Da, 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 da. That has turned into a confrontation, which turned into a fight. And I just quickly breezed. I brushed these guys up real quickly. I don't even know what happened. By the time I know it, I had brushed a couple of these guys up. And the guy basically, cut a long story short, came back into the club looking for me with a firearm. And I just couldn't get to him before he pulled the gun out. Like, I saw him and he was looking at me. He was doing all this talking and I just couldn't get to him. By the time I tried to get to him, he pulled the gun out and just... And by the time I know it, I was on the floor, just soaked in blood, man. Just soaked in blood. But all I could remember was, the first thing I remember opening my eyes, I just remember I could breathe. I remember thinking, right, you can breathe. You're going to be all right. I looked all over my body. I had like a cream night t-shirt. All I could see was red. And then all I could think about was my dad. And it was really weird. I was just thinking, who's going to look after my dad? Because it was only me and my dad at that time at home. He was actually on holiday in Nigeria. But in my mind, I was thinking, who's going to look after him? Like, I can't die. Because if I die, no one's there. Like, because it would be me and my dad going to the hospital. I'll take him to the hospital. It would be me and him there. He's crying at the hospital. Where are all my children? My children don't love me. Boom. It's just me and him. You get what I'm saying? So when I'm on the floor bleeding, I'm thinking to myself, no, you cannot die because this man, he's depending on you. When he comes back from Nigeria, what are they going to tell him that you died? So that was driving me.
Wow.
Kind of just stay with it. Just stay with it. And then, yeah, man, it was a painful experience. And 2 operations. I think they saved my arm with an operation because I had there was a torn nerve on my shoulder, and it was stopping my right arm from working while I was in the hospital. So they had to move me to another hospital to fix that. And then I had a bullet in my lung. A bullet shattered about 4 or 5 of my right ribs, and it settled in my lung. But it pierced my lung, but it didn't come out of my lung. So that's basically what saved me, because when it went into my body, it shattered my lungs, and that's what slowed the bullet down. So when the bullet entered my lungs, it had been slowed down so much, it just entered my lungs and stayed in my lungs. Because if it had come out of my lungs, then that would have been internal bleeding on another level than what it was. So there was multiple different little things that saved my life, but ultimately it was God and God's plan. But it was different little things that saved my life. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, that's probably like the most serious thing I've ever been through in my life, man. You know what I mean?
I appreciate you for sharing that. So for those that are watching, whether you've jumped on now or you've been with us, you know the show is called Real Talk. And that's exactly how Ox, and I do seriously appreciate you like sharing. Do you know what I mean? Like sharing that. So, I mean, how long were you kind of like, I mean, did it take you how long were you in hospital for? How?
I was kind of messed up for quite a long time, actually. I was in the first hospital, which is like a heart and lung hospital. It's called Harefield. It's like in the middle of nowhere between Reading and London. It's somewhere up there, Hertfordshire somewhere. I was in there for about 2 weeks, and then they moved me to Stanmore Hospital, and they're like a nerve specialist. They deal with that's where they saved my arm. Like this guy, amazing professor. Like I'll never forget him. Like he saved my arm, man. And in there, I think I was in there for about a week, but then I had to go back in there and stay in there for like 2-3 weeks. After they let me out, I had to go back in to do like rehabilitation. You had to go in the pool. So the recovery thing, it took long, man. It took long because the hospital thing was one thing, but then coming out of the hospital, and because basically I got shot all along my right hand side. Yeah. So like I was shot in my arm, shot in my shoulder, shot under there, shot on my right arm. So everything was literally on this right side. So what happened was I was in this sling for like, because they put staples, massive staples in my chest, yeah. And basically my arm was in a sling, and it was like that for about 6 months. It was like that for so long. I lost loads of weight on this side, like, do you know what I mean? Where up to this day, I had an operation in 2016 to take a disc out of my lower back, my lower right hand side of my lower back, because so much damage has happened to my right hand side because it was weaker than my left hand side for so many years. And bare little things I was doing, because I ended up getting jobs after I got shot. I went and got jobs and like working and stuff, doing driving jobs, because I didn't want to be in an office. Remember, I've got a degree, so my mind is telling me to do bare things. So I ended up going and doing driving jobs where I'm lifting bare different things and delivering stuff, but I'm damaging my body, not knowing I'm damaging my body. I'm lifting things, but my body's imbalanced, but I didn't know it was imbalanced. You feel what I'm saying? So year after year after year, literally I got degenerated discs, because my disc on my right side were just getting abused, because I never had no muscles on this side to look after me the way I had got muscles on my left side. You feel what I'm saying? So there was so many aspects of my recovery that it's only really taken me up to where we are now. I'm in the best shape of my life now, like physically, mentally, in all aspects of my life. I'm in the best shape I've ever been now. So it's taken me years. I started swimming, I think in 2017, 2018, I started swimming. And that's when I started really getting good balance back. Because the operation was in 2016 to take the disc out of my back. They put a metal brace in my back where the disc was. And all of a sudden, I'm not slumped anymore. Because for years, I used to be I used to be a bit, I never used to be straight like this. But now I'm very upright, I'm straight. Everything's starting to fill back up. My right side is almost the same side as my left now. So it's taken years, man. It's taken 15 odd years for me to actually say to you physically, I'm good. I'm strong. I'm in a good place. It's taken a long time, man. It's taken a long time.
Wow. It's so many messages. They've gone off screen. So many messages and love for you, and just for being so honest and open.
I think that honesty's helped me. It's really helped me because it's kind of that's been therapy in itself. Because if I held in some of this stuff, if I never told no one I'd been sectioned, if I never told no one I suffer from PTSD, if I never told nobody, oh, this is what happened to me, it wasn't all my fault. It wasn't my fault, but this is what happened and this is what's come of it. If I didn't talk about this stuff, then they would be in my chest. And if it was just sitting there in my chest, maybe I might turn bitter. You know, I might turn bitter. I might not have as much gratitude. I might not be as grateful. I might not have as much humbleness. I might not have humility, because I wouldn't have had conversations like I'm having with you now, where you might turn around and tell me, listen, you've gone through this, you've gone through that, just keep your head up. I've had that. I've had people praying for me. I've had different things that have happened because I've opened my heart. I've not closed my heart. You know, I've opened it and I've let people come in. I've let people hear my story. I've asked for help. I've asked for understanding. I've told people I struggle. I've written it in songs. I've talked about missing my mum and feeling like I was an orphan. I've spoken about so much of these things that it's become a part of my therapy, you know, and it's a part of what keeps me going. You know what I'm saying? So, and when people hear it, and then some people will tell you, I see people on the street and they tell me, oh, my sister's in hospital, or my missus was in hospital, or my brother got sectioned. That thing, what you said in that talk, that really helped. I told my brother, or I told my sister. I get phone calls. I get crazy engagement when it comes to this mental health stuff. And I see the benefits of me sharing my story. Like, it's God's work. Like, I know it's God's work because God saved my life. You know what I mean? Like, God saved my life. Yeah. And I'll never forget that. Like, you know what I mean? I owe God my life. You know? So if I owe God my life, I have to tell my story, because
for real,
that's one of the reasons why he saved me, you know? So, yeah, man, I'm just grateful to be here, man.
We're so grateful also as well. And I knew because of obviously the whole COVID thing, because you would have been back down in Luton a long time, trust me.
Yeah, no, that was such an amazing day, man. It was an amazing day.
It was, wasn't it? It was. Because there's so many people, there's so many messages, so much love for you out there in terms of all what you've said so far. And you've talked about PTSD, which obviously because of certain things, understand where that's going to come in. When you talk about your mental health, I think it's there's so many elements of that. Sort of like, as you sort of said, you went about you not having your mum in your life, and that being sort of like, well, that would be abandonment, potentially, kind of what, and all those kind of things. I mean, when did you feel like you wanted to? Because I can imagine, you know, you're amongst your peers and all the rest of it, and that, and there's a macho thing going on, right? You don't share stuff, or do you? I don't know. Like previously, you wouldn't have shared stuff, right?
I never told anybody. I never told anybody I met my mum. I never spoke about my mum to my friends, because it was just something that. It was just something that, because remember, all my friends have got their mum, so it's like it was just a thing that I've got my dad. Because a lot of my friends, they grew up in single parent home with just their mums. So even though some of them knew their dads or whatnot, I was missing something. They were missing something. So I'm not going to sit there, oh yeah, my mum, you know, I don't know my mum. I never spoke like that back then. My mum just wasn't spoken about. Do you know what I mean?
Did you share that? I mean, did you and your siblings share the fact that your mum wasn't around? Did you share that amongst yourselves?
No, because they knew my mum. All my siblings knew my mum. Like, because they all grew up with my mum apart from me. I know that sounds weird because
no, but I mean, just as in like, right, yeah.
Yeah, the next sibling above me was 6 years older than me. So when I was born, obviously I'm born and she's already 6 years in a relationship with my mum, because my mum's still there living with my dad, married. They're married, husband and wife. So everybody knew. And then I've got another sibling above her, another one above her, another boy, another girl. They all knew my mum. So there was no one really for me to have these conversations with when I was growing up, in terms of there was no other sibling that I can say, oh, what do you reckon about mum? Wow, like, all right, I give you this. I give you this is the best way for me to explain it, yeah? I would be coming home from school, yeah? Is this high school? Yeah, I'm about 12, yeah? I'm coming home from high school, and my sister, one of my oldest sisters, one of the oldest ones, yeah, she's like 20 years older than me. She would be at the top of my street, yeah, crying, yeah, on the top of my road, yeah, bawling her eyes out. And I'm thinking, I'm baffled. I've got school uniform. I walk past her. She's probably ignored me. She's crying. I've gone home and there's a meeting at my house. Because African households, they have meetings. They have that a lot. When there's like an issue, they will call a meeting and da-da-da. So there's a meeting at the house, yeah? And in the meeting, my dad's kicking off. And he's kicking off about, obviously I'm too young to understand what's really going on, but it's to do with my mum. It's to do with maybe the house, the mortgage, whatever it might be. And then all my dad has said is, your mum's this. He might have said, your mum's a witch. Yeah, da-da-da. He might have said that. And all my siblings are kicking off. Like, there's a few times when I've been there when it's happened, they're all kicking off. Don't talk about our mother, da-da-da-da. So they had a different relationship to my mum than me.
Yeah.
They spent time with her. They were disciplined by her. They were loved by her. They were nourished by her. I never got that. You see what I'm saying? So there was nobody to speak to, like I said, years later to compare with or to say, oh, this is how I feel. They already built that bond. They had a bond I didn't have. You feel what I'm saying? So it was a bit of a weird one, that one. I never had that bond, but they all did. So it was it was a weird one. It was weird. That was really weird.
So I've posted out and obviously promoting that you're coming on the show. And obviously I need you to help me say your name.
Yeah. Okay, my full name is Okemute.
Whoa, look, I'm a little bit older. Them lot out there are probably laughing. Do you need to slow that right down?
No, okay, so my short name on my Facebook, it says Oki. Yeah, that's
I've seen that. Oki. But okay, Oki. But what's the proper?
Okemute. Okemute.
Okemute.
Okemute. That's it, yeah.
Okemute.
That's it, there you go. Yeah.
Right, I'm not going to say that again. Okay, and what's the surname?
Apoganeta.
Oh, wow. Try it again.
Apoganeta. The K is silent. You just don't say the K. Apoganeta. You don't say the K. You don't say the K. K is silent.
Apoganeta.
There you go. That works. Apoganeta, yeah.
I can't say it again. I can't say it again because I've got. Okay, but it says that.
And the first
but
one,
then I say none of them again. Not now.
Okay.
I need some ginger wine. After that.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
I said the Okemute, it means everything has its own time. That's the meaning of my name. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Everything has its own time. That's the meaning of my name. And that's literally saved my life. Like, my name saved me so many times.
Wow.
When I've been low, when I've been down, or I think I'm getting a deal that's not what I should be getting, or I'm in a position that, why is this happening to me? I will just remember my dad saying my name. Well, I'll just remember my name, and everything has its own time. And literally, your time will come. Like, everyone's time comes. You just need to be ready for it when it comes along. And you need to know it's your time when it comes along, and then it's your time to do your thing, or you know what I mean. But if you don't know that, you constantly be pocket watching, or you constantly be thinking, oh, how come that person's got that and I ain't got that? Or how come that's happening for them and it's not happening for me? It's going to happen for you when it's your time, you know? And that's the meaning of my name. So it's literally helped me when I was in the hospital, a mental hospital. I'm in there, I'm thinking to myself, just be calm, man. You'll be all right. Everything has its own time. This is your time to kind of suffer a little bit, but it's happening for a reason. Don't worry. And it helped me. It just gave me guidance, you know what I mean?
So we kind of jumped a little bit, and you do understand you've got to come back, don't you? You do understand that?
Yeah, no, come on. You're like family.
You do understand. So, because we need to, because I know there's so much more, but I typed in your name and then your artist name.
Yeah.
And your artist name is, because everyone's like, why did I see, or where have I seen Ox, Monica's son? Yeah. So can you explain where that name's come from?
Okay, so Ox is what people called me in school, for short. It was always my nickname when I was younger. And obviously Monica's my mum's name. So when I was little, they say I used to call my mum Monica. I didn't call her mum. Because obviously my dad used to always call her Monica, Monica, Monica. So I used to call her Monica. I didn't call her mum. So that memory's always stayed with me, that I was told that. They told me that. So when I decided 2016, I put the song out called Make It Right. But before I put the song out, I was thinking, what should I call myself? Everyone knows me as Ox. I could just call myself Ox. That would be pretty cool. And I thought, no, like Monica, and because I had her name on my arm. I've always had her name tattooed on my arm.
Oh, wow.
And I thought, Ox, Monica's son, like my mum's son, like. And in a way, I thought to myself, it would pay back and give her homage, and people would get to know her. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, I don't really know her well, so I'm gonna get to know her well too, because now everyone's gonna be calling me Ox Monica's son. And it was just a way of respect to give her something that she missed out on. Do you know what I mean? Because she missed out on her baby growing up, so it's just giving her that bit of respect. You know what I mean? So that's how the name came about, Ox Monica's son. It's literally what it says. It's literally what it says. Like, I'm her son. You know what I mean? And I love her. You know what I mean? So, Ox Monica's son.
You are something else.
Give thanks, man.
You seriously is something else, and I knew. It's one of those things. I don't know how. I connected with you however many years back, and then I was having like the International Men's, which I've been doing for a few years, and I was like, by hook or by crook, I need this young man to speak.
It's a pleasure,
and to share. I don't want you going quite yet, because you're coming back on another time, because we've got to do a part 2 for real. What can you share with us, Ox, before you go? As in, like, whether it be spoken word, whether you sing something, I don't know. What can you share with us? Because
I can just give you some of a verse, maybe. I'm good. I can do that. Yeah.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Cool. Obviously, I've spoken about my mum a lot, so I'll give you something. This is like a little clip from something called Monica's Interlude. It was I wrote it and I put it on a project a few years ago. But it goes something like this.
I remember.
Yeah. Stories of an adolescent. Grew up with my mother missing. Wondering as days went by, does she ever miss me? Of course she does, but I wondered often like an orphan does. They saw me and they wondered what those tears was for. Those was tears of love, a love that I never knew. Yeah, I cried when I wrote this song's for you. I'm still your son, yeah, I'm here trying to make it through. So honorable, moving like your son should do. Admittedly, a couple hearts, yeah, I broke a few. But I suffered too at the hands of trust. That feeling that you get when you lose the lot. That feeling kind of have you in a cobra clutch. You get colder and you don't talk as much. That feeling of love, that love you miss. This one's for the realest. Never stunning. That's it, yeah.
That's it, yeah.
Well, yeah, man, check out on YouTube, man.
We've got sort of, like you can see, Shelley, the producer, as always, does an absolutely amazing job. And going across, it's got all your, like Instagram, it's got all your social media pace, details. People are following you, want to follow you, respect. Powerful. So I can't even keep up with the messages. There's so many. Absolutely awesome.
It's been a long journey, man. It's been a long journey, but I just, in a way, I feel like I've only just started. Like, it's really weird. It's been such a long journey, but it's only just beginning, man. Like, God's got so much for me to do, and there's so much plans, and there's so much things that I've got there. Like, I've got scripts that I've written for films, and there's so much stuff I've got to come. So for sure. God's done a lot in my life, and I'm very thankful, man. I'm very thankful. Very thankful. I'm thankful for you as well, D, man, because from the get-go, I felt the energy from the get-go. From when I came out, I felt the energy. So I'm very thankful, man. I'm very grateful. Very grateful.
You've left me kind of speechless. You've left me kind of speechless. We are here. The whole Simply Deez family are here. There's so many messages. Do you know what? You know when they say things happen for a reason?
Yeah.
And sometimes they're not nice things. And what you've shared, especially, please, would I want that? Would I wish that? No. But from that, so much is coming and going to come for you.
No,
just by share. This is not me. This is what I'm just saying, as in like what I see. And I know from way back, from way back. You just know certain things. So I appreciate you taking the time out this evening, Ots, and coming on and sharing. There's so much love. I'm going to send you the link. This is live on YouTube now also as well. So it is out there, so you'll be able to see. And I don't know, you might be one of them editory people that can, you might want to just capture your section. I don't know, but I just want to, you're amazing. They're not talking about me, by the way. They're not talking about me. They're talking about you. You're amazing. Yeah. And it's true. Thank you. Don't you worry, because when I message you for part 2, this is what I like. Let me just tell the guys out there. Do you know what? When I messaged Joss, because you probably didn't see, you might not see the first section. You need to watch the first section with this young man, the boxer. Yeah, the boxer. And I kind of messaged, and you know what? They're like, when? And I'm like, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Because all of the messages that have been shared here today, there isn't anybody that can say they've left here, everything somebody shared, they knew it all already, or it's not something that is going to help somebody they know, if not them themselves.
Amen, man.
There's so many things that you've read. I can't, if you're not already, just like the other young man, I don't know, you know, we're talking about schools. I don't know if you're talking schools, in colleges, and sort of like working with, well, I don't know. What are you doing now?
I've done stuff with the council. I've done some stuff with the council, but like with the council that I live in, Hammersmith and Fulham. But yeah,
I remember that was a few years ago, right?
Yeah, and I did something last summer.
Okay.
And before COVID as well. So yeah, I just need to. It's just where there's just so many things that you got to make sure you follow the right one. So,
yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot coming up. There's a lot coming up. That's what I can say. There's a lot coming up.
Don't you worry, we're following you like crazy. And if you're doing something, or seriously, if you're doing something and you want to jump on and promote, we've got different platforms. We've got different people. And you know, just sort of say, Dean, I'm doing da da da, and I'll be like, right, okay.
I'm working on a show called Therapy at the moment. It's like a full show mixed. It's like music mixed with like motivation and empowerment talks, and it's like a full length show. So I'm working on that at the moment. So that's what I'm hoping to kind of take and just be able to do in different places, whether it's Birmingham, Luton, Nottingham.
Okay, so it's a live show. It's live in person.
Yeah, live in person. Yeah, and it's called Therapy.
You know, say you're coming to Luton now. We got you. We got people in Birmingham. We got people in Leeds. We got people overseas. We know people.
All right, you're gonna hear from me definitely. Well, we're
excellent.
In the mix. We're in the mix.
Definitely. All right, darling. Thank you so much, and I will be in touch. All right, appreciate you. Thank you. I don't know if there's anybody still in the room, Shelley, producer. Is there anybody still in the room? I have been absolutely bulldozed tonight in so many different ways. Can somebody speak? Is it just me, or has this been absolutely, I don't know what to say. What a show.
It's been amazing. Absolutely. I haven't often got to listen to the whole show in one stretch. So I definitely picked the right one to listen to. Yeah, very that young guy was very what's the word? I don't know, there's something very compelling about him.
Yeah. If you probably weren't, I don't know whether you would have been, but Cecile was definitely there. Shelley was there at the last international men's. You know, the one that we did. Do you remember? Actually, I don't think. Were you there?
I was there. Yeah, that's the first one that myself and Remy.
That's right, because Remy shared, didn't she?
Yeah, she did, and I remember him talking to her afterwards and telling her how inspirational he said she was. She was then saying the same thing because she was blown away. I think we were all blown away by him that day, and a few others that were there that day. You know, and I don't even think he shared half of that. on that
No,
day.
that's why there's part 2, part 3, part.
Yeah.
No, yeah, there's so much more, so much more. But the realness, and you know, everything for a reason. Everything for a reason. Because if he hadn't been through all the stuff he's been through, he wouldn't be able to share that. And especially now, I think not just us, but everybody needs to hear certain things that then will actually, and I don't know what to say. Just so many things that happened over the last, I don't know how long. What a show for you. It's like both Josh and, isn't it?
D, I'm so glad you recognize that too. And I sent you a couple of texts. I don't think you've read them yet, but Lord have mercy. And I hate saying God's name in vain, but wow, I needed to be on here tonight. So thank you. And even though, look at me, I shouldn't be here, but I am here. I needed to be here.
What's wrong with you?
Keep your glasses on, you need them. No jokes, thank you. But real talk, so many things. And I'm talking on levels yet as well. Even what be real talk with D. Been talking to D today about some stuff with my little brother, and brothers and boys in general dealing with certain stuff. They're not always great at dealing with it in our family. They're just not good at dealing with it and the relationships. And I learned some stuff today that I didn't really know or never heard before. And then he was saying some of the same. I was like, wow, this is just so, I can't explain it. It's so amazing. So I know if I've heard some things today that I didn't know I needed to hear, but I needed to hear now. And I'm sure there's millions of other people. It was just, and the first guy as well.
We have millions watching our show, girl. We have millions.
Yo, I know that.
not even hundreds. We have millions.
But real talk, sorry, but real talk, it meant a lot today. The show has been so poignant. So many things have been said. And I don't think them two men realize how much of good role models they are, and how much what they shared today was so poignant. And I'm just blessed for them to be on the show, and I hope they know that as well, that they done a lot for a lot of people.
I don't think they do. I think they know they've been on a show and spoken, but really not know the impact that potentially is going to have on others, and we do. And so that's why, when we say we share, people think it's just for the sake. It's not, because you come and watch this back whenever it might be, and you'll be blown away. You really will. As you can see, it's already 6 minutes past 10. So I'm having to wrap up. I've had a message from Marcia probably in the last half hour. Unless something happens, well, it could still happen overnight, but tomorrow. So some people are going to sleep and be going onto Amazon, and then we'll get a message. So here we have, guys. Here we have. Come on. I'm not doing. I can't talk anymore because I'm kind of I don't even know what to say. Shelley, producer, you're kind of in the wings whilst all of this goes on. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. I'm just totally blown away. I wasn't expecting what we got today. And you know the show's going to be good, but it's totally on so many different levels.
Yeah, I think you're always a bit blown away by men talking anyway. We know, yes, some don't talk, and we know that some do. And we're lucky that we have got that platform that they do want to open up and talk. I mean, I personally know that sort of to do with boxing and bits and pieces, so it's to have it to. It's, I think for both of them, it's something that there was a reason behind why something brought them back into line, and to give them something to actually go forward for. If you've got, when I use this quite often, my husband was never any good at maths at school. He trained to become an electrician, and literally maths was telling him that equals that, and the light goes on. If you've got something that you suddenly get, then you go for it, and you get blinkered by that, and that's all you do, and you don't realise just what you're doing with people around you, because you've got your end goal that you're going for. And I think for both of them, it's something they can't see what's going on around them because they've just got that fire, that end goal that they're going for, and not realizing what's going on around them. Just how many people that they could change, or what they've just said, even just tonight.
Yeah,
that ripple effect.
Massive, absolutely massive. So we're not going to labour on tonight, guys, or anything like that, like we do. I thank everybody. Joss, the Diamond Goody, me and him are going to spar. Did he call me? Did he call me his other mother? Did he call me his? What did he call me? He called me something like that.
Kinda,
yeah. Excuse me, I got very jealous because I did not like.
I noticed. I noticed.
All right, I'll be fighting him.
Shade thrower. Stop showing the shade. And then Ox, incredible. Yeah, they're both going to come back on. You guys know how we roll. And actually saying that 3rd of Feb, what's happening 3rd of Feb, Shell? The 3rd of Feb event, which we're going to talk about because we've got time to talk about that. I'm just saying, put Ox's name down. I'm going to see if I can get him to come on. And I think that would be great. To get him to come on. That.
3rd of Feb is then our, what would have been like our normal community Zoom. I keep feeling weird that we got now Life Outta Lockdown book, but with the Life in a Lockdown Zoom. But yeah.
Where it all started, you've got to keep that name.
Where it all started, you've got to keep the name the same. So we've changed that around, so it's on the Thursday that it's the day for Time to Talk Day. So it's all to do with mind and the Rethink Mental Health. And it's just a day that they have an awareness day that encourages people to start up conversations that they might find difficult. Whether you're learning off of something, there'll be loads and loads of information all online with the different charities that perhaps are teaching you how to do it, letting you open up so you can, and just knowing, like talking to that person that you think might be having a hard time, but you don't know how to ask them, or vice versa, that you're having a hard time and you don't know how to explain. And yeah, we're just going to have our Zoom on that day, and it will just be like as we normally do. It's a space that's safe, that people can talk if they need to.
Fab. More information will be coming out about that. So anything we do, you need to get involved. You need to follow us. So Cecile, what are you going to leave the guys with tonight?
There's a book coming out tomorrow. Life Outta Lockdown is coming out tomorrow. You need to get it onto Amazon, or as I've already said, you don't have to do Amazon. Contact any one of us. Get a signed copy from any one of us. Just drop us a message. You can get the merch is going to come out. There's hoodies, there's mugs, there's a jigsaw, there's a calendar, right? There's anything, whatever you want, we can print it. You know, whatever you want. But it's coming.
I'm sorry, I've got so many things go through my head that people could ask for.
No.
You know when someone opens a list on TV and it goes
Cuddly toy, generation game.
Yeah. As it's going around on the conveyor belt. Yeah, we've got a book coming out.
We certainly have. So we ain't sorry. You're going to get bombarded. We ain't sorry. Please continue to support. Next show is actually Tuesday, the 1st of Feb. The lovely Jackie Jane Bergwin Turner is going to be one of the guests. She's a lady in the chat that has kind of like joined. The lovely Veronica Ebanks introduced her. And I've not met her or spoken to her before, but she will be on the show then. And there's going to be some surprise guests. I ain't telling you who they are yet. Maybe that's because I don't know. Anyway, from us, oh my God, what an incredible show. I get to watch this back tomorrow. For those that have watched and taken part, messaged and shared all that love,
thank you so much. Thank you to all the guys that came on today, and much love to all those that maybe certain things going on in their life right now, and they need that love. And a massive hug, squeezes to the lovely Justa. Yeah, from all of us to you, sweetie. We love you. All right. So from us, see you soon. Good night. Oh my God, I need to go and get some ginger wine for a real.